Hi, I'm Chris Haroun, and this MBA degree program is not what you think it is. It's better. This program is more than 25 years of business experience, all rolled into one easy-to-access online program. I've sold over 1 million courses in every single country. I worked at Goldman Sachs. I have an MBA from Columbia University, and I've worked in the venture capital, hedge fund, and consulting industries. I've also started many companies, and my courses have been featured in Forbes, Business Insider, CNN, and NBC. If you're ready to nail your next interview, get a better job, get a raise, start that business you've always dreamt of, improve the one you currently run, or better manage your personal finances, then this MBA degree program is for you. I can't begin to tell you how comprehensive this program is. It's got everything, including more than 300 hours of on-demand video. I would have to do one of those dramatic opening title crawls from a certain space movie just to show you. And check out all the amazing reviews from students who have already enrolled in this MBA degree program. This on-demand version of the program is only $499, and it's more up to date than many of these old-fashioned MBA programs, which cost you well over $100,000. Not to mention, they don't even teach you the practical concepts included in my program. Last but not least, there is a 30-day, 100% money-back guarantee. And because you can access this program from any device, meaning a desktop computer, or a laptop computer, or a tablet, or even your smartphone, it means you can comfortably fit it into your schedule. Even if you work full-time, it's no problem. So if you're ready to unlock the key to your potential, then I'll see you in class. Good morning and welcome to our 95th weekly webcast. If this is the first time you're joining us, welcome. If you've been with us before, welcome back. And so the way the call works is I answer all questions you have. You can ask me anything. This is an AMA like Reddit. Ask me anything. You can ask me business questions, personal questions, career questions, and the call ends in exactly 3 hours, meaning it ends at 11 a.m. San Francisco time where I'm based. And within 24 hours or so, if you go to the description field of this YouTube video, then what you'll see is every single question written up and nicely time-coded for you. So all you have to do is click on the video to watch it. So without further ado, let's begin, and thank you as always. Our first question is from Joao. Hey, Joao. Joao is from Brazil. He's saying, "Happy Friday, Chris. I hope you and your family are doing well. Likewise. As your students and followers, what are the things we can do to help you achieve your goals?" Oh, thank you. Wow. Also, how would you like your legacy to be? Yeah, well, God bless you. What a great first question. Thank you. I've never been asked that before. What would help me achieve my goals is if you become incredibly successful. You, my student, my customers. And I proudly serve on the board of the Limo Foundation, which is a not-for-profit based in East Palo Alto here in San Francisco Bay Area. And East Palo Alto has a high school graduation rate of only 40%. And so what we do is we provide scholarships for a lot of kids that have deadbeat fathers. I humbly believe there's no such thing as a deadbeat mother. And we drive them to schools and we help them study, etc. And the reason I mention this is because the reason I joined that charity is because the brilliant founder, David, who was misguided as a youth and got into a lot of trouble because he didn't have a father around and didn't go to school when he was younger, but he reinvented himself. But he has this great quote. And so David said this: "Don't expect to accomplish your dreams in life unless you help others accomplish theirs first. I heartily believe that. I heartily do. I love it. Again, don't expect to accomplish your dreams in life or your goals in life unless you help others accomplish theirs first. And so what would help me with my goals, and thank you so much for asking, is if I find a way to help you make your dreams become a reality. That's why I'm in this. I love to help other people. I love to teach. It's what I do. And I'm so grateful to have so many wonderful students that help make this journey possible. So thank you very much. And what a great first question. God bless you. In terms of your second part, what would you like your legacy to be? I always think that our goals as humans is to leave this world and do our part to make this world a better place than when we entered it. And so that's all I really care about from a legacy perspective. A lot of people will donate buildings and, start charities and all that stuff. I think that you need to, it's good to give money back, but you can't wait till the end of your life to do it. Otherwise, it's kind of more of a selfish life, to be honest. A lot of people say, I'll give away my billions later. I think you have to start right now. I really, really do. And I remember I went to, it's getting kind of hot in here. I went to Columbia University for my MBA. And one of the graduates, years before I was there, is a guy named Henry Kravis. And he's the guy that's basically pioneered and started the whole private equity business. And if you want to know more about private equity, read Barbarians at the Gate. It's about him. It's a great book about the hostile takeover or the management buyout of Nabisco, which is the National Biscuit Company. But I mentioned Henry Kravis because he's made billions. And he's a brilliant financial wizard. And he one day came to Columbia when I was there last century. I'm that old. And he gave a speech. And I was so excited. I lined up forever. I got the front row. And he talked for an hour and a half. And I wanted to hear about him, talking about how he made billions of dollars and all that great stuff, or not so great stuff, I should say. I don't respect somebody because they make billions. But I do respect Henry Kravis because all he did for an hour and a half was talk about charity. And not just giving money, of which he's donated tons, but more importantly, your time. It makes you a real person if you donate your time when you're younger, in middle age, and older as well, to helping improve the lives of others. And we're all wired a little bit differently, but for me, I actually get depressed if I don't help somebody every single day. So it makes me feel good. And it's kind of like if you have $1, you can either spend it on yourself and buy an app, which will make you feel happy for a nanosecond, or you can give that away. And it feels so much better. It releases much more endorphins inside of you. It makes you happier if you give that $1 away. And so I'm here to serve others. I'm here to humbly do what I can to help you make your dreams become a reality. And again, as David said from the Limo Foundation, don't expect to accomplish your dreams in life unless you help others accomplish theirs first. Thank you. All right, time for coffee. All right. And Joe, I hope your family's doing well as well. Thank you. All right. And then Zuber is saying, hey, Chris, hey, man, I'm interested in learning about how to read company financial statements and understand how companies make money for YouTube channels that I want to start. What course or resources would you recommend? Yeah. So two questions there. One is how to read company financials, and the other question is how to create YouTube videos and monetize them as well. So the best advice I can give you on those two questions is to take my courses. And you can take them on Udemy. So I'll show you here. Go to my website, harouneducation.com, and then go to online courses. And then I recommend taking this one here with a wonderful woman named Sasha Stevenson, who is one of my students actually on week number 10. We're on week number 95 today of this weekly call. My goodness, I've aged a lot. You can tell I've aged a lot too. But it's fun serving others. And so she came on my call the 10th week, and she started giving me advice on my YouTube videos, which have gotten a lot better, thank God, because they couldn't get any worse. And I've failed over and over and over again. That's why sometimes I do okay a little bit. I butchered that Michael Jordan quote, sorry. But she has over 100 million viewers. And so she helped me. And I believe if you give, you'll receive. It's prophetic. It's been true since the beginning of time. So I asked her, hey, you want to make a course together? So I would take this one here. So you can click here or just go to Udemy. It's probably easier to go there, as their coupons are probably more current than mine anyway, to be honest. Another course when it comes to financial statements is I recommend taking, it's a complete financial analyst training course. It's here somewhere. I'm getting there. I must have buried it way, way down here. See, this is why you should buy your courses on Udemy, not from my website. Okay, hold on a second. Oh my goodness, I forgot to put it there? Hold on. Dude, that's like my best course. No, here it is here. Okay. Yeah, I just had a senior moment. Again, the older I get, the better I was. Okay, it happens. Okay, and you repeat jokes over and over again. I've said that one before, as you know. So this is the course here. It's called the Complete Financial Analyst Training and Investing course. So I would check out those two courses. Now, if you want to learn much, much more about finance than any of my courses, what you can do if you want is you can sign up for my MBA degree program. And you can get more details on this at harouneducation.com. I have a bunch of websites that forward to the same place. So just type harouneducation.com. And then you can learn a lot more about this MBA degree program of mine by clicking here. And there's a 30-day, 100% money-back guarantee, which is something you never see with business schools. And I want to humbly do my part to try to improve business education, because when I graduated from business school, a lot of the stuff that I thought I needed to survive in the real world in business weren't taught to me. They didn't teach me how to present. They didn't teach me how to interview. They didn't teach me how to sell. They didn't teach me how to manage my own money. They taught me how to manage other people's money, but not my own. There's so many things they don't teach you. And so, I'm very humbled to say that I'm proud of this program I put together that teaches students just the most crucial things you need to know to be successful in business or your money back. And the cost of the entry-level program here is $499, which is about the same price you pay for literally 1 hour of education at one of those old traditional MBA schools with buildings and stuff. Yeah. It's over 300 hours of lessons. You can watch it on your own terms. Again, 30-day, 100% money-back guarantee. It's a great deal. And you can start today if you do this silver version here. Now, the gold version is the same thing as the silver version. Okay, and let me just make sure I'm not blocking that. I am blocking that. So let me get my face out of the way, my ugly visage. There we go. Okay. So the gold version is the same as the silver version. There's over 300 hours of lessons on demand, which you can watch on any device, laptop, desktop, tablet, television, Android handset, iOS, whatever. And this one is a little bit different because there's over 200 hours of live Q&A, including Zoom with students. And it's fun. We do it Brady Bunch style. We have 9 and sometimes more people. I'm dating myself with that comment. Brady Bunch style means, I'm not going to go, you can look it up. But you have 9 people talking at once over Zoom. And this one starts December 14th of this year, and it runs 1 year. So it's much more hands-on. Now, then there's the Platinum Degree Program, which is a one-time fee of this amount here. Again, 30-day, 100% money-back guarantee. It's everything you get in gold, plus you get several one-on-one meetings with me live in person or via Zoom. And again, there's a money-back guarantee for all those. Now, in order to find out what the application deadlines are for these two SKUs here, these two programs, you can either just put your mouse here, mouse over, okay? Or what you can do is you can go within this menu here and see important dates. And you can also see student testimonials here and click on their profiles. They're from all over the world. I love these guys, great students of mine. And then you can just learn FAQs and all that stuff there as well. So, and if you have additional questions about this, as always, please let me know. Thank you. All right. Next question is from Manas. Hey, Manas, hope you're doing well. Every time I see your name, Manas Roy, I think of Patrick Roy. Patrick Roy, that's king in French. I think he was a great goalie from Quebec. And I had his rookie card years ago. Not in good condition, otherwise be worth a lot of money. Yeah. So Manas is saying, good morning, my dear sir. Good morning to you as well. Thank you. Call me Chris, please. Thanks. Hope all is well. Likewise. First of all, grâce à vous, grâce à vous, a quarter of my book is over. Okay, so you are grateful to you. I see accent circonflexe a couple times. My French is not that good. And you wrote, your book, a quarter of your book is done. Okay, good. All right. You wrote here, I will get my book done by the time you're done your 101st webcast. I love it. And every one of my students that makes books, I buy them. You cannot send it to me. I buy them because I want to support you. And then I bring it here on the air as well. And my students all use my template. Now, anybody can write a book. Anybody can. I'm going to show you how it's free. Okay. So all you have to do is this. And this is how I've written all of my books as well. Go to my website. Just type in Haroun Education / all one word here, write book. All one word, lowercase, write book. Go. Whoops. Did I screw that up? I did screw that up. I forgot to put the .com part. I told you I'm getting old, man. Don't take my MBA degree program with me because I'm forgetful, okay? But I am honest. I'm just kidding. So go to harouneducation.com / write book, all lowercase. Then click here to download the book template. And the book template is really, really easy to use. And I'll show you exactly how to use it in Microsoft Word. So all you do, if you have a browser in Microsoft Word, you can do this. It's pretty simple. And let me just do a quick check, see if we're recording. We are good. Great. Okay. So this template here that I provide you with is simple. And all you need to do is read, and I don't ask for your email or anything, but all you need to do is read this, okay? This first page here in the book, right here. And it'll tell you how to publish it on Kindle for electronic, something called Create Space, which allows you to do paper-based on Amazon. And this will URL forward to another address because they just rebranded that. Then there's something called ACX, which is for audible.com. And so you can publish on all three of these platforms your book for free. And then the only thing I recommend paying for is go to Fiverr.com. It's Fiverr.com and get somebody to make the cover of your book. And there's a wonderful woman that I've been using for years named UltraCon22. She's based in Bangladesh. If you use her, please tip her well. She's the best. I love her. Okay. Now, if you look here, this is where you put your title and image as well. Your name, obviously. And then, again, this is a template in Word for your book. It's so easy. All you do is you click Save and then upload, you're done. Okay. And then you put other books that you've written. And then if you want to be able to copyright your books, nobody can copy it, and you want access to a cheap lawyer, which is an oxymoron, at least the oxy part, go to LegalZoom.com. Okay. And then what you can do is it costs you, I don't know, maybe $15. $15 per month for a 6-month subscription at LegalZoom. I don't get comped by them. And you can talk to lawyers for half hour every month. It's a great deal. Great deal. And then here, eventually when you learn how to do that, then you can just copyright yourself. Now, copywriting means making it so that nobody can copy the text in your book. And copywriting also means so people cannot copy code, computer code, or music, stuff you can't see, feel, or touch. Okay? When it comes to trademark, whenever you see a little TM circled or a little R circled, that means nobody can copy your brand name. Now, I can go into more details on that if you want to. Then you dedicate it to your mama and dad, and I got to read this because they might be watching, to mom and dad who gave me the faith and confidence to know in my heart that you can accomplish anything in life. I love you, mom and dad. If you happen to be watching, you're probably not. But I think the best gift you can give your kids aside from faith is confidence. Because with confidence, you can do anything, eh? And then you write an introduction here. And then right here, this is just the table of contents. And so I'll show you how it works. It's really, really simple, okay? So you insert a quote here if you want. And this is chapter 1. And then whatever, you just start typing here. And if you want to rename chapter 1 something else, you could say chapter 1. How? Actually, 50 Cent? He said, I'm going to get rich or die trying. For me, I'm going to teach or die trying. Okay. So whatever, you write the whole book, and once you've written everything, you go here to update field and watch what happens right here. Keep looking there. Here we go. Update field. Okay, update entire table, please. Here we go. Chapter 1, teach or die trying. So again, just write your book. It's easy. Oh, and it will basically come out in, I'll show you the formats. Hold on a second. So I've written I wrote all my books using that template. It'll come out in this format. Here, again, it costs you nothing. And what happens is, it's so interesting. Once you actually order it once somebody buys it from Amazon, here's what they see. Okay, let me see if I can pull this off here. I can't get the color right in this. But what happens is, whenever you buy a book from Amazon, a paperback book, and let me see if I can zoom in here. What happens is, it hasn't been printed yet. Okay? So what happened? Here it is here. Yeah. So you'll see here, and open up any paperback you have from Amazon, because when you order it, it gets printed the next day or the same day. And then you get it a couple days later. So in the United States, this is printed by Amazon in Charleston, South Carolina on this date. That's when this book was birthed. A lot of them are made in San Bernardino here on the West Coast. And also in Europe, they get made in Poland right away. So I have to be completely honest with you, as always. You see my nails? Okay, I bite them. It's terrible. Okay, it's awful from a COVID perspective. And it's bad for your kids, and I'll explain why. Okay, I'm very self-deprecating, and laugh at me, not with me, please. But I think one of the big risks is if you bite your nails, which I've been doing since I was a kid, right? I blame my parents for not disciplining me more. Just kidding. I love you, Mom and Dad. But I bite my nails. It's awful. And my kids do as well. Monkey see, monkey do. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. So what I do, and I have to put it on again, and please learn from my many failures, is I put on this stuff called Probell. Okay, Probelle. It's like nail polish that tastes just terrible. Just terrible. Or as Charles Barkley will say, terrible. It's just terrible. He's a basketball commentator. He's funny. But so I put it on here, and when I bite it, it tastes terrible. And I do with my kids as well. Clearly, I've failed and not done a great job with that. And as Michael Jordan said, and I got to show you my favorite MJ quotes down here behind me. I have a lot of energy this morning. Michael Jordan said, "I failed over and over and over again, and that's why I succeed." So I keep failing with this. But I think it's important to get that product. I'm not comped by anybody. Again, it's called Probell. Let me show you what it looks like, actually. I think it's worthwhile for yourself or your kids if you bite your nails. Because I talked to my doctor years ago in the hospital, and I asked her, I said, "Evelyn, why is it you're not sick all the time?" And she said, "Because two things. I never touch my face. And then number two, I wash my hands all the time." So if you bite your nails, it's deadly. So, but let me show you what it looks like. So let me go to Amazon.com, and I'll do Probell. Here it is here. Yeah. Yes, that's not the right one. There's another one here, which is anti-biting. It's here somewhere. Keep looking. I promise you. It's apparently they make other stuff as well. I'm clearly making it in myself, but I don't care. But search for I'm going there. I don't care. Biting. Here it is. Good. Okay. Yeah. So it's called Probell Anti-Bite. And it looks like this. You put it on, it's clear. You can't tell it's on there, and it tastes just terrible. And I know because I bit my nail this morning. It was awful. It tasted, anyway. Yeah. So, all right. Do what I say, not what I do, folks. Okay. All right. So please write your book and let me know when it's done so I can order it. And imagine how amazing you're going to feel if you show up to an interview and you give the person interviewing you a book you wrote. Who does that? How badly do you want that job? Or imagine you go to meet with a customer, and a potential customer, and you give them your book. How badly do you want that customer? All right. Next up, Manasseh saying, "I'll never listen to you if you think you're going to purchase my book." Okay. You wrote here, "I'm an Indian, and here in India, if we charge our teachers or guide for something, it is a sin. So you'll get the book by me. Thank you. God bless. I appreciate that. Thank you. And then you wrote here, "Can you please paste the link to your book templates? I'm typing it in on Android. It's causing problems." Yeah, sure. I'll do that right now. Actually, I'll type it here. So, and by the way, nobody can put in links here. YouTube won't let you for some reason, but I can. It is what it is. So it's, whoops. I use two computers because I never want to use a production computer for, yeah. Haroun, I'll type it in here for you. HarounEducation.com/write book, all lowercase. There you go. All right. Cool. And thank you as always. Okay. Next up, Manas is saying, can you please paste also the link for my daily routine forms? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And let me just show everybody what Manas is referring to. So what I do is for my students, I have a schedule, a daily scheduler. HarounEducation.com, all lowercase, schedule, as they say in England, all lowercase, remember that. And what you can do is you click here and you can download a one-pager. And in this one-pager, it's in PowerPoint, which means you can open it in LibreOffice or Keynote. It'll work, trust me. So what you do is you basically write up your schedule for the next day, and you can change this completely. And then at the end of the day, you score yourself. And so, yeah, just go to HarounEducation.com/schedule, and you'll find it there. And let me actually show you a higher end version I have for my MBA degree students. Give me 1 second. Thanks. All right. And if you're curious about that timer up there, that basically it's 20-minute timer for my my MBA degree students. We're doing a lot of one-on-ones today. The platinum version students. All right, so let me click on the right pedal. I'm trying to be an army of one here. Yeah. All right. So this is the one that's available for my MBA degree students, and it's quite similar to the one I just showed you. It's a premium version. It's free if you sign up for my MBA degree program. But I have this in PDF format, OneNote format, as well as 6 other formats. And you can do it by hand, or you can actually just fill it in directly. So let me show you what it looks like a little bit closer here. See if I can pull off this top-down camera, right? Here we go. Yeah. All right. So with this one here, you start off with just the day, the date. And again, this is PDF format as well, so you can click the boxes and all that great stuff. You write down your goals and a deadline date, kind of like Manas you just did for your book, which I love. Great job. I can't wait to read it. And then this is just course stuff. In the MBA degree program, there's 5 tracks we cover in the core curriculum. There's EMS, that's Economics, Management, and Strategy. Then there's FA, that's Finance and Accounting. Then there's SMC, which is Sales, Marketing, and Communications. PG is Personal Growth. E is Entrepreneurship. And then here's where you write down your daily schedule. And this works, I promise you. It works exceptionally well in terms of helping you reach your goals, because if you want to get something done, you give it to a busy person. And the busier you are, the more stuff you'll get done. I do this on weekdays, never on weekends, because it would literally drive me crazy if I had to really do this sort of thing on the weekend. But I schedule time for family as well, and I never do a good enough job at that, to be honest. Although I'm that dad that never travels, never wants to, because I want to be there for my kids every day. I don't want my kid to look up in the sky and see an airplane and say, "Daddy?" Yeah, that's not me. It was me for a while, not anymore. All right. Next up, question is, do you think the United States will face problems if Alibaba stops supplying goods? Yeah. So I think that's just one company. Obviously, it's a Chinese company owned by Jack Ma. But I think China would be in more trouble if they cut off ties with America, or if Alibaba did. And I say that because, like, a lot of people don't realize that about 1/3 of the revenue for the world, meaning 1/3 of GDP, is the United States. It's a big economy. And 2/3 of the United States economy is consumer spending. A lot of people think it's big business. It's not. It's consumer spending. And that's why the whole world watches the American consumer closely. They look at sentiment numbers, they look at unemployment numbers, etc. And so China is still an export nation. And they're very much reliant on the American consumer. And so I think that if Alibaba were to cut off shipments to the United States, it would really hurt them in the long run. Big time, big time. So given globalization, we're all codependent on each other, obviously. And America is too big to fail. And China just can't cut off America. And America can't cut off China either, because the reality is that China is the one that buys our debt. So in 2008, they were really upset with America because America kept printing lots of money, which was the right call. But if you own a house in the United States and you have a mortgage, then guess what? It's owned by the Chinese, a big part of it, the Chinese government, right? And that's not a political statement. It is what it is. So I think the United States and China are attached at the hip. They're very much reliant on each other. And until China can figure out a way to create their own internal consumer-based economy, they're still reliant on America and the American consumer, big time, big time. So yeah, but I think it would really, really hurt Alibaba if they were to cut off all shipments to America. And for me, like, I've used Alibaba before, and I use a website there. It's called AliExpress. And when I use it, I did to teach my kids about arbitrage, meaning buying something cheaper and selling it for more money. And we did quite well for a while. I messed up too. But if you go to AliExpress.com, you can import tons of stuff, super, super cheap, super cheap. But you know what? If I didn't use Alibaba's websites or AliExpress at all as an American consumer, it wouldn't impact my life at all. So yeah, it wouldn't impact my life at all. I think Alibaba would be shooting themselves in the foot, though, if they were to do that sort of thing. It sounds like there's probably a lot of pressure on Jack Ma to united we stand, they say. But I'm not going to go there. Yeah. Yeah. And I think the Chinese government did a horrific job with this whole Corona thing. And my views are a little bit out there, but the way I look at it is, and you all know I'm fully transparent. You could read me like a book. I'm open book all the time. But my view with China is that, do you remember before COVID? A couple months before COVID, you had a lot of riots in Hong Kong, peaceful demonstrations. And I love those people that were rioting because they wanted equal rights. They did. And they didn't want to be bullied by a communist government. And so it was awful. There was lots of riots. Awful for the Chinese government, that is. And then we don't hear about that anymore. And my thesis is, it's a little out there, but here it is. I think that Beijing, I think they could have stopped Corona earlier, but I think they let it get a little bit out of hand, just a little bit, so that they could tell people in Hong Kong to stop rioting and stay home. China's very, very worried, and always has been, about civil unrest and uprising. And if you don't know much about the Tiananmen Square incident in 1989, please Google it. There's this, oh my God, I got to show you a picture of it. There's this one student who's my hero. They got to make a movie out of this guy. What he did was, in 1989 in Tiananmen Square, so Tiananmen, I know I spelled it wrong, Square, 1989, tank. Okay. Yeah. This is unbelievable. There's this guy, and you can watch the video if you want. I'll just show you an image. There's this guy that stood up right here. Here it is. Right here in front of a tank. It was awesome. And he was standing up to standing up to the bigger, the government, anti-communist, obviously. I love this guy. And it's an iconic picture. Probably one of the most iconic pictures of the 20th century. Yeah. But China is very, very worried about civil unrest. And everybody's got cell phones with cameras on them now, so the Chinese government can't bully too much without it getting out. And so they're very, very careful and very, very long-term greedy, long-term focused, I should say. And so anytime there's any sort of civil unrest, they do whatever they can to squash it. So anyway, those are my humble thoughts. I think it would hurt China a hell of a lot more than it would hurt America if Alibaba were to stop supplying goods to America. Yeah. And that's not a knock on Chinese people at all. It's just the administration of the Chinese government. Yeah. All right. All right. Next question is Manasseh saying, how did you plan your books? Like your book, 101 Things They Don't Teach You in Business School. Do you make a mind map or something like that? Yeah. So what I do for my books or for my content, for any of my courses on Udemy, etc., is it's very unstructured, but I think that unstructured logic works best. It's kind of like, and this is a really, really silly analogy, but here I go. I have to show you one of my favorite albums ever. Give me one sec. All right. So this here is a masterpiece of an album by the Beatles, of course. And they didn't structure this album in terms of, we have to start with this song. We need a good closing song to this. Let's write a day in the life to close it out, which is a great song, by the way. What they did was they just kind of, I don't know, it wasn't structured. They kind of just put a bunch of content together. And then, later on, Sir George Martin, God bless him, he passed away, the producer, would kind of throw it together in this great book, so to speak. And so even with John Lennon, who's this brilliant man in green here, John Lennon, what he did actually for one of the songs called For the Benefit of Mr. Kite, what he did was he was at his buddy's house, and on the wall there was this picture of some carnival events, and Mr. Kite was one of the carnival dudes. And all he did was he read that entire poster and made a song out of it. So it was really, really unstructured. And I think that if you try to take people in business and in music, in media, in streaming, whatever it is, any form of entertainment content, vlogs, if you try to make them create certain type of content, they won't be creative and they'll fail. They'll fail. And little side note here, sorry. So this here is Paul McCartney, and there's a rumor that he was dead in the 60s. And the Beatles, who were brilliant at marketing, they played along with that. And so right here on Paul McCartney's shoulder, it looks like it says OPD, and a lot of people thought that meant officially pronounced dead, but it's actually from the police in Ontario, where I grew up, the Ontario Provincial Police, OPP. Yeah, you know me. Or the OPP. We used to call it Ontario Party Poopers because I shut down a lot of my parties in my house when I was a kid. But I think if you have kind of a just free form, creative approach to it, you'll do well. Now, here's how you organize your thoughts. So what I do is whenever I have an idea for one of my courses, and I'm always working on many courses at the same time, but whenever I have an idea, I send myself an email to my Gmail. And in the subject line, I'll write the name of the course. And the contents of that email are just an idea. So for example, if I was making a networking course and I was going for a walk and I was like, what would be great? What would be great to add to that networking course is that quote, which is, your network is your net worth. So I'll send myself an email. In the subject will be networking course. And then in the contents will be that quote I just mentioned to you. And so later on when I'm putting pen to paper, so to speak, or collecting my thoughts and organizing what should go into my course, I'll do a search on the subject line in Gmail for the word networking course. And then I'll see tons of emails over 6 to 12 months or whatever it is. Then what I'll do is this. I'll drag and drop all the contents of that directly into Microsoft Word. And let me show you this too, because this will help anybody trying to write a book. So let me actually use the pedals I have. Let me open up Microsoft Word. Whoops. Then what I'll do is I will actually, let me do a new document here. I'll paste in all the stuff, okay? So let's say there's tons of fragmented thoughts. And then I'll drag and drop them around and then figure out that, hey, this here could be a good section of the book. And so I'll make this a section 1. And I'm like, you know what? this here could be another good section of the book. Make that section 2. And then I'll be like, this here looks like a chapter in this section. So I'll make this section heading 2. You'll see what I'm doing in a second. It'll make a lot of sense, I promise you. And I'm like, you know what? I think I'll open the book with this section here. And then this here will be a heading. Yeah, and this is not a good idea up here. I'll get rid of this. Now watch what I'm going to do. What I'm going to do is I'm going to insert a field. And they always change this around here. So I'm going to go down here to old school, insert field, and then I'll type in talk, table of contents. Okay. And then this might be on another page, whatever. So I'll right click here and I'll update the field quite often. And then you'll see that this is section 1 of the book. That's chapter 1. That's section 2. Maybe that's section 3, a chapter, and then section 3, etc. That's what I'll do. That's how I create all of my books. And you can, again, get the template for my book at harouneducation.com/writebook, all lowercase. So that's how I approach creation and making content in general. I think that if you try to make people fit into boxes, so to speak, you'll crush their creativity and their creative spirit in general. I just think you have to let it go and just freeform create. And then later on, you can figure out how to structure all that information. Because if you're too regimented, like the army or a lot of big companies, then what's going to happen is you're not going to be creative. You know, the army's not very creative, and neither are big companies that are bureaucratic. So anyway, those are my humble thoughts on how to do it. And every time I think of this analogy, I always think of Richard Dreyfuss, great actor, in the movie Close Encounters. Close Encounters of the first kind, third kind, yeah, which is about this. I think it's a Steven Spielberg movie about this alien ship that comes down. And Richard Dreyfuss, he's trying to recreate what he thinks the alien civilization looks like in the ship. And so he creates, this is out there, out of mashed potatoes in his house, what he thinks it looks like. And it's crazy. And it's as crazy as watching, let me pull Picasso here. He's on the Berlin Wall. That's that piece of the Berlin Wall I got from Checkpoint Charlie at a Udemy event last year. But it's like Picasso when he would paint. He was really, really out there. And because he was really out there and just thought differently and didn't give a damn what people thought of him, he was really creative. How refreshing is that? And so you have to be incredibly unstructured initially. It's kind of like another movie reference, the movie Ghost with Demi Moore and Patrick Swayze. This is out there, but remember that scene where they're making the clay pot. At first, I started out with just a big pile of clay. And you're like, I don't know what that's going to be. And then they spin it around, right? The evolution of human thought and creativity. It's awesome. And eventually that becomes a pot. But you don't really know what it's going to look like until you put it all down on paper, so to speak, and then put it in the right buckets. Kind of like what I mentioned with the Beatles and that song, The Benefit of Mr. Kite. I mean, this thing is, you guys have got to get this. This is a masterpiece. And the Beatles were amazing. They were like 6-tool players. It wasn't just about music. It was also about marketing. And so the Beatles played around, along with that rumor that Paul was dead. And obviously he wasn't. But the most brilliant people in business do this. They use controversy. I'll give you examples. Sir Richard Branson, who founded, of course, all these great Virgin companies, what he did was he wanted to get into the soft drink business. And he declared war on Coca-Cola back in the, I think it was the 1980s. So he rented a tank and drove it into Times Square, which of course you can't do anymore. But on that tank was a bunch of Virgin Cola, cans. And he declared war on Coca-Cola. And it was such a brilliant PR event. Now, the product flopped eventually, but it got great free media attention. Also, more recently, Mark Benioff, who is a brilliant man and a wonderful humanitarian. So he's the founder of Salesforce.com here in the Bay Area. What he did, and I remember this before his company went public. I met with him a couple of times. I worked at Goldman years ago. What he did was he would go on the television, and he would say software is dead. And everyone was like, I don't get it. Why are you saying software is dead? It's a big growth industry. And he said software is dead because traditional software that you install with a disk or a CD, whatever, on your computer, it's bloated. It takes forever to get updated. It's just not efficient. So cloud computing is the answer. And so he declared war on traditional client-server bloated software companies. And it was free PR for him. And as a result of that and many other reasons, his company became extraordinarily successful without a massive marketing budget initially. It was brilliant. And so what the Beatles did with pretending Paul McCartney is dead, it was just a rumor. And even the last song here, called A Day in the Life, is about a guy who got in a car accident and passed away. People thought they were talking about Paul McCartney. But actually, they were talking about the son of, or one of the kids in the Guinness family in Ireland that passed away at some point around the time of this album. Also, what the Beatles did was they played into this controversy, which is free marketing, free publicity. I mean, they didn't need it. They were the Beatles. But what they did was they released probably maybe their second best album, Abbey Road, or maybe it's their best album. And I have a copy over here. But let me show you the cover of what they did, because it was absolutely fascinating and a great case study in how to embrace controversy to sell your product. And so if I were to do it, I would declare war on Harvard Business School, HBS. And I would say 2/3 of HBS is BS. But that wouldn't work, because you could say Haroun Business School, HBS. Okay, move on. So let's go to Abbey Road, and I'm going to show you what happened. Cover. Okay, good. Here we go. Let me get a nice big image. Let me find one that's big here. This will work. That's fine. Okay. And then what I'll do is I'll put it over here. All right. So what they did was, by the way, the cover of this album was initially supposed to be, and let me just make sure audio is working good. The cover of this album was supposed to be Mount Everest. The Beatles were going to travel to Mount Everest and pose for a picture for this album cover. And then they were like, you know what? Screw that. That's too much work. So what they did was they were recording this album, Abbey Road, at Abbey Road Studios in London. And they just walked across the street from the recording studio and took this picture. Now, in this picture, what they did, and it's brilliant, is it's a funeral procession. Because Paul is dead, remember the rumor. John Lennon is the priest. He's dressed in white, which is ironic. Ringo Starr is the pallbearer, the dude that carries the coffin. George Harrison, God bless him, he's no longer with us. He is the gravedigger. He's wearing jeans. And Paul McCartney is the only one in bare feet, and he has a cigarette, signifying death. Please don't smoke. So this, and then here, and you can't see this, but if you scroll in really, really closely on this Volkswagen Beetle, cute. On this Volkswagen Beetle, it's tough to see here, but it says the words 28 if, which means if Paul McCartney were alive, he would be 28. It's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing. Yeah, it's fun. So if you ever visit England, make sure to walk across that iconic street with your family, take a picture of it and put it up on the wall. It's amazing. It's amazing. But that's, that's the brilliance of the Beatles. It wasn't just the content, but it was also the marketing. And sometimes you have to be extraordinarily controversial with your marketing program and advertising in general in order to get a lot of free publicity, which costs you nothing. All right. All right, let me see. Next question here. Clean up my space a bit. I used to work at Goldman. They used to say, my boss used to say, a clean desk is a happy desk, I think. Whoops. That's fine. Okay. I try to strive for perfection with all this stuff here. It's so hard. And Salvador Dali once said, if you strive for perfection or aim for perfection, you'll never reach it. So you can never be perfect. Just get your content out there, or that sort of thing. Get your book written. Don't be perfect. And who cares if other people criticize it anyway? Because as Dr. Seuss said, those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind. All right. Next up is, if I sell my book on Amazon and a buyer goes for Audible, which is free for 30 days, do I get my royalty on that? You do. You do. But here's what usually happens when you sell online courses or books, Kindle versions, as well as Audible stuff. You get paid 30 days later, usually, because you have to account, the company that's going to pay you has to account for 30-day returns. So with Udemy, I get paid every month, but it's at least 30 days late because some of my students ask for refunds. Yeah. And last wrote, thanks for answering my question. Sorry if they were silly. No, dude, not at all. I love them. I love them. And you wrote, God bless you and your family. God bless you and your family much, much more. Way more. And you wrote, stay safe, keep going. Hope to hear from you soon. Au revoir. Goodbye. Same to you. And high five back at you. God bless you and your family more. Thank you. Oh, John Clee from Rochester. John, he's been with us since the beginning. I actually hired John recently to help me out with customer support. And for those of you that saw the on my website, there was a hiring now jobs thing. We just took it down. Thank you, though, for everyone that applied. Yeah. So John is saying, hey, Chris, great to see you. I have a Zoom interview with a startup tomorrow. Ways to stick out. Damn it, I've lost my best employee. Just kidding. So John is working part-time with us. Ways to stick out. You know what I would say, John, is it's a cliche, but you never get that second chance to make a great first impression. So I would really focus on your backdrop if you can. And I don't know if you have enough time. But if you want, I actually published a course on Udemy that you can check out. And since you work for me part-time, please don't leave me. You can get it for free, obviously. But for other people watching, what you can do is just go to my website, harouneducation.com, and then just go to courses. And then check out this one here. It's called Video Production Masterclass, the complete video camera course. And so this course I made with a brilliant man who is the #1 pioneer on the planet when it comes to green screens, and a good dude as well, named Steve Washer. And the reason I asked, and you'll find out how to create a great backdrop for your Zoom meeting tomorrow. It's over 24 hours. This course is 27 hours. And you get your money back guarantee as always. But the reason I chose to work with, and I'm humbled he said yes, Steve, is because I saw a video that Steve had on YouTube on how to do a perfect green screen, the easy, cheap way. And I contacted him, and he contacted me back, and he gave me tons of free advice. Nicest guy. I was like, dude, let's make a course together. And I think this is my best course on Udemy, to be honest. So check out that course. I think it'll help a lot, or your money back as always. All right. Oh, one more thing. You can also take my complete job course. It's the only course I have that has 100% lifetime money back guarantee. And the way to find that is just go to my profile on Udemy. You'll find it here, and you'll see my courses. Where is it again? It's right here. Yeah. So it's called the complete resume, LinkedIn, and get your dream job course. I sort of just renamed it a bit for SEO reasons, search engine optimization. I wanted it to rank a bit better. So take this course. It's 12 hours. You might not have enough time before your interview tomorrow. Maybe you do. But take this course, and actually you do have time. Just watch the interview part of it. I promise you, I guarantee you, it will help you ace your interview and get the job. And this is the only course I have that has a lifetime money back guarantee, personal guarantee from me. So if anybody's watching this right now that took this course in the past couple of years, if it didn't help you get a job, I want you to email me right now and I'll give you your money back. I want you to email support@harounventures.com. Thanks. And best of luck with the interview. All right. And then John wrote, how is the golf class coming along? I played, worked at, and live on golf courses most of my life. Would love to see how it's going. Yeah. No, thanks, dude. So my chief creative officer, a brilliant man named Matt Lacus, he was actually my son Dylan's golf teacher. And I can size people up pretty quickly. I'm a humble guy, but I'm a good judge of character and talent. And I went and I was reading a YouTube book while Dylan, my son, this guy here in the middle, was taking golfing lessons from Matt. And Matt was so patient and such a great teacher. And he also came up to me and saw I was reading a YouTube book. And we started talking about videos and videography and all that stuff. And I knew right away, I have to hire this guy. He's amazing. He's incredible, incredible. But let me show you. And so we are making a course together called the Complete Golf Course Course. I'll probably rename it. But let me actually show you some of Matt's work on the golf course here in Crystal Springs, California. So what you can do is you can actually go to my YouTube channel, and we'll go there together. Actually, I think the best way to get it is to click here. I've got a backdoor way of it. Hold on a second. YouTube, yeah. And just search for the word golf. Okay. All right. So I'll go here. I'll search for golf. Sorry for covering it up with my face, I think. Yeah. So I recorded a little YouTube video that day while we were recording it. And let me just do a bit of a hack job here and show you this video. And give me 1 second. I'll be right back. But you can watch this without me here. Here we go.
Hello, everyone.
Oh, goodness.
Ask a quick favor.
No, this was not planned.
Today to join our team.
That was not planned, I promise you.
Every battle is won before it's been fought. That's a famous quote from Sun Tzu in The Art of War. And so we're preparing here for a course that Matt and I are making. Matt is a pro golfer. Matt.
All right, let's kill the bandwidth here. Here we go.
Every battle is won before it's been fought. That's a famous quote from Sun Tzu in The Art of War. And so we're preparing here for a course that Matt and I are making. Matt is a pro golfer. Matt LePew, say hi.
Hi, everyone.
We're making a course called the Complete Golfer's Course, or a better name than that, right? The Complete Golfer's. We'll work on that. We'll get a better name. But we're preparing a lot out here. We've got a number of different cameras set up. We've got a GoPro over there even. And so this is a test run. This is a test run. But I wanted to quote Sun Tzu in The Art of War. Great book. Every battle is won before it's been fought. We have many backup cameras here as well. And whenever I give a presentation, I always bring 2 laptops, my own and somebody else's, just in case, just have backup. Again, we have a number of different cameras here, a number of different audio settings as well. And so our course will be out soon, actually. And we're filming it here at Crystal Springs Golf Course in beautiful Burlingame, California. So anyway, hope you join us on the golf soon. On the golf soon? On the course soon. Okay.
Yes.
We'll see you mañana. Thank you.
All right. Sorry for that that little Joe Biden commercial there. Well,
this is the Rich Dad Radio Show.
This is not the Rich Dad Radio Show. Hold on a second. Let me just go and end that video, or it's going to hog up all the bandwidth here. All right, give me 1 second. Go back here. Great. It's interesting, though, that Joe Biden's campaign would choose to advertise. I saw a comic the other day where it was Joe Biden sitting beside Barack Obama. And Obama said, Joe, I just want to let you know that I'm endorsing you. And then Joe goes, for what? I'm not going to be political here at all, please. Yeah. I moved to this country from Canada. And when I was a kid in Canada in the 80s, I loved Ronald Reagan, standing up to communism. That guy's my hero. Love him. And so I thought when I came to America, I have to vote Republican. And then I came here, I'm like, I don't know what to do now. So I tend to flop between candidates based on policies. I'm probably more of a libertarian. Okay. All right. Asamina, how are you? It's been a long time. Asamina is awesome. She's from Greece. I think she lives in Crete now. And she also works for Ryanair, a great Irish discount carrier. And also she is a pro developer of video games. And she's making this wonderful open world concept video game that I'm going to play live here at some point when it's all done. And it's going to make Rockstar games look awful compared to hers. Yeah. Awesome. So Asmina wrote, hi, Chris. Hope all is well. I've been MIA, missing in action for the past couple of months, taking care of some stuff and moving. And I hope you're doing well. I hope you are. Yeah. And I'm wearing a flanella today. That's all. And many of you know my wife, Christine, my wonderful wife. She's half Greek. And so I know a couple of Greek words. And so when she was dressing the kids, when the kids were much younger, she'd say, make sure to put your flanella on, which means undershirt. That's all I know in Greek. Yeah. And so Asmina also is writing, the game is coming along slowly since I got back to work, and one of my favorite sports, Muay Thai and kickboxing. I love it. Christine used to do kickboxing too. That's right. On here, Ontario Street, there's a kickboxing place in Mississauga where I grew up. Yeah, great to have you. Great to have you. And then Neil is saying, hey, Chris, I'm currently taking the complete job interview course. Can you please explain in detail how to answer? Tell me about yourself question. Also, how long should that answer be? Yeah. Never make an answer more than, say, 30 seconds to a minute, and never give them everything, right? You want to end your answers on a certain note so that they can ask a follow-up question. And if you feel like you're rambling in an interview, I want you to immediately say, the bottom line is, boom, whatever, to sum it up. And if you need to buy time to think about what to say next, you can use a couple of filler words that I call, or filler phrases like, in terms of, moving on to, the bottom line is, that sort of thing. So when it comes to the question of tell me about yourself, it's simple. All you do is think about your resume, think about the earliest point in your life listed on that resume, and then fast forward chronologically to the most recent part. And you might want to add in other things as well. You know, for me, I would say, if somebody asked me this, I would say, I was born in London, Ontario. My dad went to medical school down there. And then we moved to the Toronto area. And I went to school maybe I mentioned the school, if the person interviewing me went to a similar school, whatever, I try to bond. Then I would say, I went to McGill University and I studied business and technology and went to work for Accenture or Accidenture. Don't use that joke because you don't know if they'll laugh, that sort of thing. Sorry. But it is true. I went to work at Accenture. And I'm passionate about technology and finance. I then went to Columbia University, which is in South America, I think. And I then went to work at Goldman Sachs. I'm clearly butchering this. I worked at Goldman Sachs. Then I moved on to work at a couple different hedge funds. And then I moved over here to the West Coast, and I started my own hedge fund / venture capital firm. I've got 3 kids here. I'm so passionate about baseball, especially the Toronto Blue Jays. And I'm happy to be here, and just thanks for the opportunity to interview with you. So, but what you want to do though is before your interview, I think what you want to do is you want to go to the Twitter profile of whoever is interviewing you, if you can get that information. Same thing before you have a sales meeting with somebody that's a potential customer. You want to be able to learn about them. You know, they'll probably follow their favorite sports teams, which you might be able to bring up because sports is great boardroom talk. You know, don't mention, I was stalking you on your Twitter profile and I noticed you like baseball as well. Just let it come up naturally because relationships are always more important than product knowledge. And the bottom line is your network is your net worth. But a big rookie mistake is that you go to interviews or to sales meetings and you go right down to business. You start selling or start trying to sell yourself if you're not selling a product in a sales meeting. You got to bond first, dude. You know, the first 5 or 10 minutes of that meeting has got to be just getting to know them. Business is about people. All right. And if you have additional questions, Neil, please let me know. And if you don't get that job, make sure to ask me for your money back, okay, on my course. Thank you. And Melody in the house. Melody, how are you? Melody is a wonderful teacher from Atlanta. And she was on my call. I did Zoom calls a while back on October 31st, 2019. The call was 9.5 hours long. I didn't get up once. It was so fun. And she got on with her wonderful 2 kids. Yeah, but Melody is a teacher in Atlanta. And she's working on not only a book, but a couple of Udemy courses as well. And I can't wait to see them. Yeah, and she's cool too. Melody's saying, I have to push the videos delayed back. Monday, I got a message from Udemy saying to fix the audio. Yeah, that's good. That's good because Udemy did that with me as well. They asked me to fix the audio, the video change a bunch of things early on. And they do it to kind of help you out, to make sure that it meets certain qualities so that your course will sell. Yeah, they did that to me as well. And thank God they did, because you don't want to release an inferior product. And if you want, I can help you as well. And what I recommend, Melody, is get a Blue Yeti if you can. And that's a much better mic than maybe the mic you're using for your computer. And I'll show you one here. I use it as my backup. Here it is here. Yeah. So this here is a Blue Yeti. Let me just unplug it. Okay, good. It's a great microphone. That's driving me nuts. It reminds me of Pitfall, that video game I played when I was a kid. Dating myself again. All right. So here's what it looks like. This is the cheaper version. Okay. It's called a Blue Yeti Nano, and it's great. And all you do is you plug it into your camera or your computer if you want to record audio separately, and it just works. It's plug and play. It really is. It really is. It's amazing. It's amazing. And on the back, there's a couple of settings on the higher end version that most people have. This is the cheapest one. There's a couple of knobs, and you want to set it to the one that looks like a heart. It's called cardioid mode. And you hold the microphone like this. You don't hold it. You have it on a stand, okay, like this. And for my first 20 or so Udemy courses, I used a Blue Yeti. And I actually, what I would do is I would stand up so that it was out of shot. I'll show you what it looked like. So what I would do is, all right, I would stand up and it would be right down here in front of me, okay, that far in front, and it was just out of camera view, and the sound quality was great. It's amazing. These things just work. When you want to up your game to the next level, then you can consider getting something like this. And this here is a Shure. What's the name again? Yeah, brand name is Shure SMB7. Look at me teaching about stuff I don't know the name of. And this is great for if you want just deep bass as well. But the problem is you got to be close to it. And guys like Seth Rogen, you know, that guy with that great TV show, or maybe it's Joe Rogan, I can't remember. They use this sort of thing as well. But you got to be close to it. That's the problem. Or what you can do is you can use what's called a lavalier. Okay, it looks like this, and you've probably seen these things before. And this is my backup in case this goes down. And I'm that guy that brings 2 laptops to every presentation in case. But this thing here, it's called lavalier. And then you put it here on your collar, and a lot of times I hide it. You can't even see it. It's like right underneath here, or it barely sticks up. You can't see it. This is backup. And what I recommend is that you plug this lavalier into an H1N. Give me 1 second. I'm going to go and get it from my my props room here. Okay, give me 1 second. I want to show it to you because this is a good investment. Yeah. All right, so this here, you plug the lavalier, the other end of this dude here, okay? If you can see, it's the black shirt. Now you know why I wear black. But you plug it in directly into this device here, and let me actually show you this device. Yeah, so this here is called an H1N, and I never get compensated by anybody, please, for anything I mention. I just want to humbly help if I can. It's called an H1N, and it's about $100. And basically, you just plug the lavalier into here, and then you hit record. It's that simple. And it records it on one of those tiny little SD cards, right? And that's it. That's it. The only problem with this, like there's this great feature where you can click a certain switch here so that when you put this in your pocket, no matter what button you push, it's not going to mess it up. However, if you're going to do this, Melody, there's one thing I recommend. Let me just get top-down view here. Yeah. One thing I recommend, which is get a black piece of tape, or any color, doesn't matter, and put it on top of this. This here is the gain, okay, which means it makes it louder or less loud. your voice. And you always want to err on the side of being a little bit less loud, because if audio is slightly too loud, you're done. You can never fix it. Okay. And I'll talk about echoes in a second. But it's pretty simple. You switch it on here. And this is Velcro. I hide it sometimes. You switch it on. Let me just do this so you can actually see the LCD screen. And then what you do is, you can see it's kind of recording audio right now. Yeah. But if I had the lavalier plugged in, it would obviously record off the lav. You hit record, that's it. Okay. And then what you do, does that work? You have to put in a card that's not full. But I actually record always with this thing as backup, just in case. Let me turn it off. It says goodbye. See you. See you. All right. Now, let me talk a bit about how to get great audio. Okay. So what you might need to do, and I want to show this to you, but it might be difficult. So I'm going to go to my overhead camera and show you how to get great audio in your house. Okay. So the way to get great audio is to put blankets on the wall. Okay. Put blankets on the wall. I used to have blankets on the wall before I started doing this full time. Or what you can do is you can get these curtains. They're really cheap from Amazon, and they block out noise. They're great. And the more stuff you have on the walls, the less echo you'll have. It's amazing. Yeah, and they block out the light as well. They're really, really cheap. But I used to actually put real blankets, my kids' blankets, up on the wall just to stop the sound. And you know when you go to an open house, if you want to rent a house or an apartment or whatever, and the echo is brutal if it's not staged, if it's empty. Well, the second you put more furniture in a room, the echo dissipates a bit, gets a bit better. So make sure you put blankets on the wall or more furniture in the room. Or if you really want to up your game, what you can do is this. And I've never done this angle before. Give me a second. Let me see if this is even going to work. And you guys will see how messy I really am here. All right, so let's go here. Can I move it? I don't know if I can. I'll just do it by hand. Screw it. All right. So let me first of all turn this around. I'll give you a bit of a tour here. Okay. See? It's messy. The stuff you can't see is messy. But over here, like on the ceiling, you see here how I've got all these tiles up here. And if you're going to put them up there, it comes with a sticker. You stick them up there, but you got to use Loctite spray as well, because if you don't, they can fall down and start a fire if you have something, I don't know, electricity. If you have, you know what I'm talking about. And then there, I left a gap for the air, and there's another gap you can't see behind here for the for my fire alarm thing, smoke alarm. And I also had them on the wall there as well. There's my wardrobe. But I have them on the wall there as well. It's kind of tough to see. There you go. You see? So I have them there. And what that does, you don't have to put them everywhere, but it stops the echo a bit. Yeah. So anyway, that's behind the scenes. And there's me. All right, hold on. Let's go back now. All right, great. Yeah. So hopefully that's helpful, Melody. If not, please let me know, and I'll work on a plan B and do whatever it takes until you get your course up there. Yeah. Everybody has something to teach, and when one teaches, two learn. Okay. And you said the video's got 5 stars, but they said there was a hissing sound. And that it was normal if you have electronics near you while recording. Yeah, okay. Let me think about that. It might be the air conditioning even. Or if your laptop is on close to where you're recording. I think you have a desktop though. So if you can, make sure that the tower, your computer, is far away as possible from this thing. And that's what I do as well. Like the computers that I use are as far away as I can possibly get them. I'll show you again here. Now that you see my messy room, it's right back there. So I've got this one here. That's a laptop, which I use to view the questions. And then I have another computer hidden way back there in the corner. That's a lot louder. And then here in my props room, I have a server that's really loud. That's why I keep that door closed. Yeah. but to make sure you don't put stuff on the computer to kind of deafen the sound. Otherwise, it could be a fire hazard. And when it comes to fires, and I always bring this up, but if you have kids, I recommend not just having this one, okay? And we all know how to use this one. If there's a fire, we push here and you aim it at the base of the flames. But the problem is a lot of kids, it's too heavy, right? Your kids are bigger, but for one of my kids, it might be too heavy. And also, when they're freaking out and there's a fire, and I've tested them with this too, and this is true, they don't know how to use this because this is not intuitive. And sometimes there's a pin as well. So what I recommend doing is buying this product here, okay? And it's easier because it looks like this, and kids play Fortnite. They how to use this, I guess, yeah. But it's lighter, it's smaller, and I have them in all the kids' rooms as well. And let me show you. And I feel like Laura Linney from the Truman Show in 1998. I'm dating myself. That was a great movie. Yeah? That movie kind of forecasted the bad side of social media longer term. It was brilliant. Okay, so this is called Fire Gone. Stop fires fast. And I put these in all the kids' room. And sometimes I'll go into the room and they're working on their computer. And computers can start fires. There's been a lot of recalls, right? Especially the ones that have the big Ghostbuster trap type plugs like the Xbox has. Dating myself again. But this thing here, it's easy to use. Once they use it once, you got to get a new one just in case. You want to be careful. But you just spray it at the base of the flames. And it's light. And I have it in the bathrooms as well. And the kitchen. And this device saved this house I'm living in from burning down about 2 months ago. Yes, it saved it. It wasn't me, it was one of the kids. And also my old house in Burlingame, California, which I like to call boring game. One of my au pairs started a fire in the kitchen. And this device saved the house as well. I wasn't home. And she was great. So get these in your kids' rooms, please. Please, please, please. Or anywhere where there's electricity, yeah. Another thing I want to mention is, while we're on that topic of kid safety, if you have a car and it's in your garage and it's quiet, right? Like I don't have an electric car, but my car's very quiet. Sometimes even when you leave with the key in your pocket, sometimes these things mess up to the extent that, and it's user fault, that you don't turn it off. And it's so quiet. And you know what I'm getting at with the garage door closed. And so what I've done is I bought a carbon monoxide alarm and I put it in my garage. And I put it down pretty low down on the wall because carbon monoxide stays pretty low. But I recommend getting that and this product as well. Yeah. If you want to splurge, you can get, there's a company called Nest, which is owned by Google now, which has a great carbon monoxide and smoke alarm as well, which I think every house should have. Yeah. All right. Give me 1 second. I'm going to scroll down the bottom, see if anybody's complaining about video or audio or anything. And we are good. There's no complaints. That means it's good. And what I had to do is I had to wipe out my entire computer here. And I made the mistake, and I'm such a geek, I'm such a nerd. I made the mistake of getting a brand new computer, top of the line. You never do the version 1 of a product when it's first released. Big companies are smart. They never upgraded the latest version of Windows. For example, they wait for dot releases. So I did this. You know, I have a great computer here for streaming and everything. It's amazing. Like I have to nerd out. I got to show this to you. But there's issues. I had to reinstall everything. Right? It's got 28 cores. I've got 1.5 terabytes. I am a nerd of storage, and it's because it's what I do in video editing and stuff too. But the problem was I bought Gen 1. Right? I bought the very first generation on this computer, and then it just kind of, don't ever do that. Don't ever buy Gen 1. So anyway, big mistake by me. But as Michael Jordan said in that sign there, I failed over and over and over again. That's why I, meaning Michael Jordan, succeeds. Yeah. And if you're curious about this down there, it's just a prop I have for my students in my MBA degree program. That's an old scale I bought from, I think it's from India actually, from the 1800s. Bought on eBay. It's an antique. And it's a scale, a balance scale. And I teach you about assets versus liabilities and equity on a balance sheet. So you can see a house on one side with the car, and then on the other side here, and that's assets, the house with the car. On the other side, which balances, those assets are owned by a bank, that bank there, as well as an entrepreneur, that's equity. So assets equals liabilities plus equity. So anyway, that's that sign there, yeah. And if you're curious about the other things I've got down here, these strips down here are where I have all the electricity wires, because my kids come in here sometimes as well. And so a lot of mechanics use these sort of things as well. Yeah. All right. You know what, Melody? You mentioned here you've got 44 videos that you've edited, and you have 100 videos within. And you wrote, I'd rather change the volume now than have customers saying there's issues with the audio. Actually, wait a second. You know what you can do, Melody, is there's a product you can download for free called Audacity. And just do a YouTube search on this thing. But Audacity will fix your audio. It might be able to remove hissing. And I've done this before too. So play around with that and watch YouTube videos. You might not have to re-record. But if you do, you'll always record it better the second time anyway. But there's always that soul-crushing moment when you first start making these courses where you realize there's a problem with the video or the audio or whatever it is, and you have to re-record. And it sucks big time, but the second time you do it is much, much better anyway. So, yeah. All right. Next question is, what are you doing for your 100th episode? Yeah, we're week 95 now. I don't know yet. I don't know. I don't know. Let me know what you think I should do. Yeah. It's crazy though, eh? 95 weeks. I remember the first couple of weeks I did it. I told myself I'm doing it forever, every week. I don't care. And no one was on the call. And so I had like backup scripts of stuff to talk about until I got questions. Yeah. It's been fun though, but we're going to keep pushing the goalpost out to make this a better and better customer experience. Yeah. And so what I'm doing now, and by the way, when you see this, there's this camera here, and I use pedals down here like they're keyboards, right? I mapped them myself. I am that nerd. But you could see how that camera is moving. You see, like pick a spot in the corner, just watch it. You'll see it's moving. And I got this idea from Dan Rather, who also has a Udemy course. It's called One Man Crew. And you can get cheaper versions of this product for $100. It's amazing. And it's called B-roll. And it's called B-roll because my A camera is here. That's my A camera right there. And if you have another camera, it's called a B camera. And what you do is you have it rolling. And so when you're recording a course or a video, if you mess up and you're talking to this camera, you just repeat the line and you cut to the other camera that you're recording at as well. But it's on this slider, which is pretty cool. And the reason I got it also is because in the MBA degree program, I want to go down to Silicon Valley here and interview CEOs as part of the curriculum. Obviously, I can't do it now because of COVID, but eventually we will. We will. It'll be fun. Yeah. And and I'm always trying to push the goalpost out. And I finally figured out a way to cheaply get a robotic arm that goes like this. Because when you're watching, say, the John Oliver show or any late night television show, what you see sometimes is you see a camera go low down and then up above. It's amazing. And my goal is to be a one-person crew here. I do everything myself here and be able to get the same quality they get. I got a long way to go, but we're getting better. All right. And Melody's saying, did anything open up in your area yet? I know business on our side, and you're based in Georgia, is starting to resume regular business hours. Yeah. So things have started to open up. Like I went to the Apple store. I had to get a new computer because one of them wasn't working that well. And when I went there, and it was Hillsdale Shopping Mall, I had to line up outside. And while I was lining up, there was a security guard there, nice dude, and he gave us all bottles of water, and he had extra masks and stuff too. And then he used this special thing to see if I have a temperature, which he held that far away from my forehead. And I didn't. And then somebody from the Apple store took my order while I was lining up outside on an iPad. And then they brought me into the store, and there weren't that many people allowed in the store at one point in time. And of course, when we lined up outdoors, we had to be like 6 feet apart, whatever it is. And I went in, I bought it, and yeah, they didn't ask me to take off my mask to check my ID, but yeah, I bought it. Yeah. And by the way, if you ever go to the Apple store or any store, and you're a student, tell them you're a student, please, or a teacher. Tell them you're a teacher, and you'll get 5% off or whatever it is. Or if your spouse works for a big company, whatever, mention that company's name, and usually they give you a discount, kind of like when you go to hotels. All you got to do is ask. Yeah. But yeah, so things have started to open up here. We had some friends over. We had a party actually last weekend. Not too many people. And we have a pretty big deck by the pool. So what we did was we actually set up a bunch of couches outdoors we bought from Costco. And by the way, if you can't buy it at Costco, you don't need it. They got everything. But we have couches out there, and we staggered everyone at least 6 feet apart. So yeah, but life goes on. You have to. And my friend, or my kids have their friends come over now, a small group of friends, and we're friends with their family as well. And they have to use one of our floors downstairs to get in or whatever it is. Yeah, we're careful, but life has to go on, man, because we can't continue like this. Yeah. And it gets lonely, man. It gets lonely. Like doing what I'm doing, I get lonely. It's good to have people around sometimes. So yeah. And what I used to do when I was lonely, working for myself, is I would just go to Starbucks and bring my Bose headset or whatever, or go to the library, or just change my environment. You can't really do that right now, but yeah. So yeah. But I'm counting my blessings because I have my health for now. All right. And Saloni is saying, "Hey Chris, have a nice day." Thanks, you too, buddy. Thank you. Pratik is saying, "Hey Chris, hope you have a nice day as well." Likewise, thank you. Great to have you. All right. And the question is, what do you think of the future of education with the advancing technology? Yeah. So I feel like my kids are the last generation of kids that feel like they might have to get a university degree. It's completely up to them, though. The problem with education is that we have 4-year undergraduate degrees that cost $100,000 in some countries. And there's only 13 hours of class a week. And for some reason, I missed a lot of those. I don't remember why. No regrets. And you don't really learn stuff that you can apply in the real world, unless you go to medical school. But the problem is you have all this debt and you graduate and you don't know how to file your taxes, which is important. You don't know how to sell. Even if you have MBA degrees, it doesn't matter. They don't teach you this in school. You don't know how to sell. You don't know how to interview. You don't know how to manage your own money. In business school, they teach you how to manage other people's money, not your own. And so there's a lot of problems with traditional education. And there's a lot of edu-elitism that occurs as well, which disgusts me. Meaning parents will donate a lot of money to schools and their kids will get it. Like, why is it that really, really rich people, why is it their kids go to great schools? Is it because their kids earned it? And what happened with the USC scandal, it disgusts me. It disgusts me. And those are just the people that got caught lying about stuff their kids do to get them in, or making donations. It's ridiculous. It really is. It really is. It's not fair. Like when I went to school in Canada, I'm a proud Canadian living in America, but I went to McGill, and your kids don't get into schools in Canada if you donate a ton of money. It is a meritocracy, which is the way it should be. And I remember I went to school with this guy, really nice guy named Rahim, and he's the Aga Khan. And he failed out of McGill. Nice guy, though. He failed out in first year. And the next year he went to Brown, which is where I guess Kennedy Jr. went to. And Kennedy Jr. got in because, obviously, I'm not going to go there. He is who he is. But I think that edu-elitism is a big problem. It's a big problem. And, I commend companies like Google, Apple, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, et cetera. They don't require a university degree anymore to get in, to get a job with those companies. That's a beautiful thing. And so I think the future of education is that undergraduate degrees will be shorter, maybe 2 years max, and it will be supplemented with what you do online. Because it's not fair that somebody born with a silver spoon in their mouth gets better access to education than the rest of the world. It's not fair. It's not fair. And I humbly believe, and this was the subject of my TEDx talk, which you can see online, I humbly believe that every problem in the world can be fixed with T-E-A, technology, education, and acceptance. You know, I don't believe in sending troops overseas to fight wars we can't understand or ever win. I believe that society changes from within. And who are we to tell other countries how to operate? I think what happens is you have millions of Malalas rising up and teaching over YouTube or whatever it might be, Udemy, and changing society from within. I think education fixes every single problem in the world. Every problem from ever occurring. Obviously I'm betting my career on this, betting my life on this. I think the future of education is online. And what's happened with COVID, this terrible crisis, is it's kind of pulled forward my vision of the world by at least 10 years, meaning a lot more people are learning online. And yes, I saw a big spike in traffic. But what I did, because we're all in this together, is I gave away 1 million free courses during the month of March. And then I had to hire a couple more people to help out with customer service, right? So my profit margins aren't as great as they should be. I don't give a damn. I really believe that education fixes every problem in the world, and I'm betting my career on it. And Melody wrote, I hope you have an awesome day today. Thank you, you too. And you wrote, I'll be ending work early today to help my daughter with a slip and slide. Very cool. Oh, I love it. I love it. We actually bought, for the kids, we're not going on vacation or anything. So what we did was we spent a couple $100 on fun stuff. And we bought them a slide, a slip and slide. Actually, it's a plastic thing. It's just outside my office here. And my kids are not allowed to use it when I'm doing this live. They know that. And they can't use the internet because of Fortnite. It's been destroying my streaming, right? But we have a slip and slide. And by the way, what we just did is if you have internet access at home, and we have Comcast here, if you can get the business version and not the consumer version, and the business version, it's not too much more expensive, okay? And it says it's the same speed as personal internet access. However, it's not. And here's why. It's misleading. So whenever you get internet access for home, they'll advertise the speeds it might reach. And that's only the speed it reaches if nobody in your neighborhood's online. So you're sharing your personal internet with everybody. However, if you get business internet from home, what happens is it advertises the same speed, but it's way faster because it's all relative. And you're not sharing that business line with others. And there's probably not that many people in your neighborhood where you live that are running businesses for themselves with a business internet account. So if you can switch to a business internet account, because it basically will increase the speed you have by a gazillion, whatever. So anyway, I've got that coming tomorrow on Friday, installed here at home. And obviously I need it because it's what I do for my job. Yeah. Thank you, Pratik, for that. Yeah, thank you. God bless you. Thank you. And then Melody said, Chris, you're not the only one who repeats jokes. It's happening, man. It's old man syndrome, I guess. I don't know. Actually, I was always like that. You said, I told a joke 3 times to my kids. And my oldest said, you said that like 3 times already? Yeah. Dude, yeah. Yeah, and the source of our comedy at home now is TikTok. And for those of you that don't have TikTok, you have to download it. Turn this webcast off. Download TikTok. You don't have to register, but you can swipe and watch funny videos, and it cracks me up. A lot of people are bored in the house, and they're making funny videos all the time. Yeah. Kundan is saying, hello, sir. Call me Chris, please. I know you're a great fan of networking, but what if the recruiters only hire from a campus placement from a target school? How can I land an interview if they don't come to my college? Yeah. So first of all, go to my website, harouneducation.com, and download this networking book for free. It's 200 pages. I promise you, if you read it cover to cover, and there's links to a couple hours of YouTube videos I made, I promise you, if you read it cover to cover, this will help your career significantly. I really, really believe in this. I put my reputation on the line. And so I think you can land any job by networking a lot. And just applying to a job because you see a job opening online, it doesn't work that often, because whenever you see a job opening online, there's thousands of other applicants that send in their resume, and you just become a number. And quite often the person that gets that job, their mom or dad knows somebody there or whatever. So I think if you network a lot at companies and you get to know people at companies by using my methodologies, which works, I promise you, then you will get that coveted job. And you can take my complete job course as well on Udemy. And it's the only course I have that has a lifetime money-back guarantee. So if anybody has taken that course already and you bought it years ago and it didn't help you, you can get your money back still. Just send me an email to support@harounventures.com and I will refund you. Take that course. I promise you it helps a lot. And Kundan said, also, I'm waiting for your management consulting course. Any update on when it'll get launched? I think I'll do it eventually. So I had one before on Udemy, but the ratings weren't great. They were, I think, 4.2 or something, and so I pulled it just because it wasn't a quality product. So I will work on revamping it. So yeah, in terms of giving it a deadline, I don't know yet. Sorry, I don't know. I got a lot of other things I'm doing. I got a ton more Udemy courses I'm creating this year as well. So yeah. But I'll get it out eventually, yeah. All right. Amazing Science 360 is saying, hi, Chris. How can you convert an idea into an asset? Thanks in regard, yeah. So I think that failing to plan is planning to fail. And I think that every company, before you launch it, you should write a thorough business plan, because that will help you understand how to take your asset and be able to monetize it, or how to think about growing revenue through indirect distribution channels, et cetera, which is what I do online for my online courses. And so what I recommend you do is I recommend you take my complete business plan course. And you can take that course by going directly to Udemy's website, or you can just go to my website, harouneducation.com. And then what you can do is, and I think I might actually have it here. So we go to learn.harounventures.com. You can also go here, learn.harounventures.com, and then you can take all my courses here. So the one I recommend taking is this one here, the Complete Business Plan course. It's everything you need to know to create a great business plan. And if it doesn't work, you get your money back. 30-day, 100% money back guarantee, which is the case with all my courses. Yeah. All right. Next question, or it's a comment from Pratik who's saying, je parle aussi couramment français. Je parle un petit peu français aussi. Je veux faire la grasse matinée ce matin. Yeah. And speaking of petit déjeuner, I am hungry. I'm going to have my brekkie here, my breakfast. And petit déjeuner is French for small lunch. It's kind of cool because, breakfast is like small compared to lunch. So this is my petit déjeuner, and I use my Ninja Bullet blender for this. And there's kale and greatest hits in here. Yeah. All right. Well, when I was a kid, I did not speak English in school until the 4th grade. I went to Toronto French School, TFS, and they would always say "ne parlez pas anglais," and then in my head I'd say that's okay. It rhymes. All right, and Vinay saying, hey, sir, please suggest your top 5 financial literacy books. Thank you. Yeah, I don't really have one. There's a great book called Financial Shenanigans by Howard Shillett, who founded Cifra, an accounting firm. And I used to hire him to help me with short ideas when I ran my companies, hedge funds. So you might want to check out that, Financial Shenanigans. Aside from that, it's hard. It's hard. It really is tough. I'll show you a couple I have here. Or actually, I'll just show you one. I'll show you 2. So the reason that Warren Buffett went to Columbia University, which is where I went, it's the only 2 things we have in common, is because Benjamin Graham was a professor there. Okay, and so Benjamin Graham wrote this book called The Intelligent Investor. And if you want to understand value investing and how to fall asleep quickly, I am serious. Read this book. It is good though. It is good. If you're going to read it, just get up an hour early every morning and just first hour of the day read this until you finish it. Rinse, lather, repeat. But this is basically the manuscript when it comes to value investing. And when Warren Buffett, he actually taught one of my classes. He came and guest lectured, whatever, in 1999. He was amazing. Amazing. But he was there with his wife, and God bless her, she passed away. But she was teasing him because he actually brought this book with him on their honeymoon. And that's actually probably a pretty good test for what are you passionate about in life. If you go on your honeymoon, what is the one book you buy to read? But this is his. He's passionate. He loves what he does, right? He's passionate about investing. So anyway, this one might be worthwhile checking out. But another one, and this is not a finance book, but this is required reading. It's by Dale Carnegie. And if Dale Carnegie did not exist, then we wouldn't have people like Tony Robbins, who's awesome, be as successful as they are. This guy's the grandfather of self-help. And so he wrote this book called How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's an oldie but a goodie. It was written in the 1930s, but human relationships have not changed since then. Yeah, and one of the things he talks about is you have to understand in business that quite often people are creatures of emotion and not creatures of logic. Read this book if you can, please. You can go to audible.com and listen to it as well if you want to. That's what I recommend. So those are the books I recommend. I don't have any other finance ones I'd recommend. I guess I'll talk about one more. So whenever I go into the office of somebody very successful and more successful than me, which is all the time, what I do is I look on their bookshelf and I see what books they have. And then once I leave their office on the elevator ride down, I order it immediately on Amazon. It never be cheap when it comes to education. And it's getting harder now because a lot of people, they buy digital books. But I was in Ken Griffin's office. So Ken Griffin is an amazing guy. He's a multi-billionaire and the founder of Citadel. And I used to work at Citadel. And so I spent a bunch of time with him in his office one-on-one. And when I was there, and we talked about video games and technology, he's a good dude. But when I was in that meeting with him, I looked on his bookshelf. And I looked when he wasn't looking, right? Because I wanted to see. And he had this book by Damodaran on finance. And so Damodaran is a wonderful professor at NYU. And so I bought that book as well, which was somewhat helpful. But I think the best way to learn about finance is to take online courses from people that have worked on Wall Street or in the hedge fund industry or venture capital, whatever. And so I'm humbled to say I have a lot of courses I think will help you a lot, better than reading textbooks. Yeah. So first one to check out of my courses is called the Complete Financial Analyst course. And you can get that on my website, or actually just go to learn.harounventures.com, which I have here. And you can navigate to here through my website as well. But this is the course here, the Complete Financial Analyst Training course. And this course here, I actually went to the Czech Republic to record my trailer, which is what I usually do. And I hire a great guy named Adad for this. So let me actually, you know what I'll do is I'll take a quick little break here while you watch this. Give me 1 second to get this all set up for you. Go full screen, and then I will play it. Whoops, hold on. I have to turn on the sound, right? There we go. Welcome to MHS. Congratulations! MHS stands for Morgan Haroun Sachs, which is the world's #1 pretend finance company. Come with me. You will go through our Financial Analyst Training Program Bootcamp. Here you will learn a lot about finance and investing with no theory. You will rotate through the many divisions of our firm, and we will discuss how to excel in 14 different financial analyst roles. I will also help you understand which finance role you're most passionate about and how to get hired and promoted in the industry. You will deal with the employees and clients of our firm in edutaining, meaning entertaining and educational interactive case studies, including how an IPO works, how to manage risk, and how to manage a portfolio. You will create incredible investment research reports that will impress the heck out of anyone in the finance industry. This course is for anyone who wants to be a financial analyst or a better investor, stock picker, portfolio manager, and more. No prior experience is necessary. It includes a comprehensive Excel template to help guide you through our training program. In addition, I will teach you Excel skills so you can model financial statements and value companies from scratch. This course is based on my many years of experience. I'm an MBA graduate from Columbia University. I've gone through the Global New Hire Financial Analyst Training Program at Goldman Sachs in New York, London, and Tokyo. I've worked for top hedge funds, and I even started my own hedge fund and venture capital firms. This course is more than 22 hours long. This is the most thorough financial analyst and investing course available on the market. The student reviews have been amazing. Welcome to the Morgan Sachs training program. This will be a lot of fun. I'll see you in the morning. All right. So I recorded that over in the Czech Republic. That's why I go to film most of my promotional trailers. And my wonderful director, his name is Adad. He's great. He's great. And if you want his contact details, let me know. And he's amazing. It's amazing. It was a great investment. And he's a good dude as well. All right. And by the way, I don't know if you noticed, but you might have noticed, I lip synced the whole thing because I was so sick when I did that. Like we had makeup on and stuff as well. And I pushed myself so hard. And we had the film crew. I was like, screw it. I'm going to do it, as Sir Richard Branson says. And so we actually had to do lip syncing. And some of the parts are so brutal, dude. Like you can tell. It felt like an old Bruce Lee movie I used to watch when I was a kid. You know, the ones that are dubbed. He's speaking Mandarin or Cantonese. And then over top there's English. And all you see him saying is this. The girl, she's with me. Hey, you. Not you. The other one. You broke my store window. You will pay. That's what it looked like. Yeah. All right. All right, let's see. And then Pratik said, your networking book is so interesting. This one, thank you. I read it in a day. Thanks. No, I appreciate that. Thank you. It's free. Don't buy it anybody. You can get it on my website for free. Yeah. All right. Thank you. And Fausto is saying, I bite my nails also since I was a kid, just like me. I said earlier in the webcast, I bite my nails and it's bad from a COVID perspective, you know, because yeah. So I've got this special nail stuff I put on so that it tastes awful, but I still bite my nails. It's terrible. And you wrote, I tried using those nail polish that make you sick when you do. And I just spent the whole day sick because I couldn't stop. Yeah. Yeah. You know what the trick is this. You know, I asked someone that's an expert at manicure, pedicure. And the trick is this. When you bite your nails, a lot of times there's a little ridge and it makes you want to, you know, just bite it. There's a little ridge. So if you get a nail file, and clearly I'm not the poster child for this. I'm not a hand model, folks. I'm terrible. I still bite my nails. But you get a file, and you file all the way around, so there's no ridges, so you're less tempted to, yeah. Gregory in the house. Gregory, I smile whenever I see your name because I think of the show Succession, which is the best business program on television. It blows away billions. Watch Succession. There's a character named Gregory who's British, but he actually has an American accent. In that show. Watch it, Succession. It's awesome. It's about, I think it's kind of a play on Rupert Murdoch's family, to be honest. It's about a media empire. And Macaulay Culkin's brother, Kieran Culkin, is incredible in that. It's like out of nowhere, this guy's, oh my God, he's a great actor. He's the real deal. Yeah. So watch it if you get a chance. Yeah. And the soundtrack, the dissonant, sinister piano introduction it's mind-blowing. Not as good as Westworld soundtrack, but pretty damn good. But Gregory, I hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing well, buddy. All right. Next one is Dario from Italy. Hope you're doing well. And as always, I mentioned a buddy of mine I went to business school with whenever I see your name. His name was Dario. And it was 1999 I met him. And it was a couple of years after Super Mario 64 came out. And whenever he saw me, he would say, "It's me, Dario." Dario, great to have you, brother. Hi, Chris. I always think that this weekly webcast is not, I should not take for granted. Thank you so much for everything. You're most welcome. Thank you. And I should be the one thanking you and all my students for being here. Thank you. And then you wrote, today's question is, what do you think about the electric car industry longer term? Tesla or now Nikola are, in my opinion, overbought. Yeah. So I tend to look at stocks in the long run, and I tell myself, I don't know the path, but I know the destination, meaning the target price, right? So I kind of ignore the day-to-day fluctuations, but I tend to back up the truck and buy a lot of stock when everyone else is freaking out. Because as Warren Buffett said, you want to be greedy when others are fearful, and fearful when others are greedy. And so back in March, I think it was, I bought just a ton of stock, and I've been selling now. Yeah. So you want to do the opposite of what most people do. Otherwise, you'll never accumulate wealth. And Warren Buffett once said that the New York Stock Exchange is the only store in the world where consumers sell stuff when it goes on sale. Think about that. You got to buy when everyone else is freaking out. Otherwise, if you buy a stock everybody loves, you know what pushes stocks higher? New investors that learn to love it. If everybody owns a stock, and meaning a lot of people, like a lot of investors are bullish on it, then there's not many incremental investors to push it higher. So what I love to do is I love to buy broken stocks, not broken companies. Meaning, when it feels really uncomfortable buying a stock because it looks like it's falling like a knife, that's when you back up the truck after you do your research. And take my complete financial analyst training course or sign up for my MBA degree program, because I teach you how to do a ton of research like the Wall Street veterans do. Yeah. And I'll never tell you what stocks to buy ever. But I will teach you how to pick stocks. Kind of like give a person a fish, they'll eat for a day. Teach them how to fish, they'll eat for a lifetime. All right, next question is, Chris, I'm really enjoying your complete financial analyst course. Thank you. You wrote, I'm almost done with it. And then I'm starting straight into the cryptocurrency course. Really interesting and enjoying it. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. I poured my heart into that crypto course, all my courses. And with the crypto course, I actually hired a guy to review it. And this guy, and I didn't want to mess anything up, right? I wanted to be authoritative and do a great job teaching about it. And I hired a guy to help me with it a lot, proofread everything, like my thousands and thousands of words document, whatever, my script. And he made a bunch of corrections. And he did such a good job. Like, he's such a leading expert in the industry that the NSA came over to my house one day and they were doing a background check on him for whatever reasons. I didn't ask why. Maybe they were hiring him to help out with the next rendition of SHA 256 or whatever it might be, future security protocols for background checks. Yeah. All right. Damn it. Now the NSA heard me and they're monitoring me. I'm in trouble now. If you don't see webcast number 96 next week, you'll know why. Yeah. Or Edward Snowden, if you're watching, I'm going to come and join you in Russia. Never. Okay. And Dario's saying, P.S. I sent you an email on the 28th of May. I hope it went through. Thank you, Dario. I appreciate it. So I get a gazillion emails every day, and I can't read them all. Same thing with LinkedIn messages. I'm so sorry if anybody's reached out to me and I haven't responded. The best way to reach me is now, and the best way to ask me questions is live on this webcast, as this is Office Hours. Thanks, dude. Appreciate it. So just whatever you wrote in the email, just paste it here, and I'll read it here. Yeah, thank you. All right. Kunal saying, good morning, Chris. Hope you're doing well. Likewise. Next question is from Gregory, who's saying, Chris, is your MBA have you the subject self-development? Yeah, I do. I do teach self-development. So in the MBA degree program, there's 5 core curriculum types of courses. There's PG, which is personal growth. There's FA, which is finance and accounting. There's SMC, which is sales, marketing, and communication. There's EMS, which is economics, management, and strategy. And there's one more that I just can't remember. Let me show it to you, actually. I'll show you. Yeah. This is probably an advertisement not to take my MBA degree because I can't remember what I teach. Okay. But let's go here to the MBA degree program. Here it is here. You can go to learn.harounventures.com. Yeah. All right. So let me scroll down here. And these are just student testimonials and all that stuff. But let me go to the curriculum. And you can actually see samples from within the curriculum here. All right. So I talk about personal growth here, PG. Sales, marketing, communication, I mentioned that. Finance and accounting, I mentioned that. Oh, of course, E for entrepreneurship. That's the fifth track. Yeah. I'll show you a preview while we're here, I guess. Let me see if I can show you a preview. Yeah. All right, yeah. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a quick little break. I'm going to show you just an excerpt, a little lecture from that. So give me 1 second, and I will hook up audio so it sounds better next time to this webcast. But give me a second here and make the resolution better. Yeah, and we record it in 4K as well, but we haven't put it in 4K here because we can't yet. Welcome back. So let's talk more about very successful entrepreneurs and the pain point they have in their lives that drives them to be successful. So I had the opportunity of being on the board of a company when I worked in venture capital where Sequoia was also on the board. So I spent a lot of time at Sequoia's headquarters in board meetings. And I had a chance to meet with Doug Leone for an hour and a half one-on-one because I asked. And you can Google him, but Doug is probably the #1 venture capitalist in the world. And I was just so humbled to have gotten a meeting with him. I'm surprised he said yes. But when I sat down with him, I asked Doug, Sequoia is the best venture capital firm in history. And I asked him, what's your secret? What's your secret? Like, what kind of people do you invest in? He said, of course, it's all about the people first and the idea second. So if you go to Sequoia's website, and they change it a lot, but it's usually sequoiacap.com, the contents, they change a lot. And they always focus on highlighting the founders and not the business models because ideas are commodities, but execution is not. But I asked Doug, I said, what kind of people do you invest in then? And he said, and I'm paraphrasing this, but he said, people that feel like there's something missing and something happened to them maybe when they were younger that wants them to prove the world wrong. Yeah, and so the first thing that came to mind for me was Elon Musk, who, poor guy, he had the crap kicked out of him in South Africa growing up before he moved to Canada. For him, it's not about the money, man. It's about passion for changing the future and making people's lives better. He really believes it. Kind of like Tony Shark. And he's even thinking about colonizing Mars now. It's unbelievable. It really is. But for him, it's never been about the money, ever. And the same thing with other great entrepreneurs. Even Steve Jobs, he had a personal vendetta because the company that he co-founded with Steve Wozniak, the board fired him. And so when he came back to make probably the best turnaround in corporate history, when Apple was teetering on bankruptcy in 1997, it wasn't about the money for him. He didn't give a damn about the money. It's about passion and purpose and making people's lives better with products like this. You really have to believe that. Another thing, this is a little side note, but I talked to another friend of mine at Sequoia, and I said, what kind of people do you hire to work in the front office, back office, that sort of thing, or investor relations? And he said one of the ways they do it is they go to a big clothing store here in America called Nordstrom. It's a great clothing store. It was founded, I think, in Washington State, which is the Northwest U.S. And they just kind of observe different salespeople working at clothing stores. And that's kind of a great interview because they don't know they're being interviewed. So a little side note there. I thought that was interesting. Okay, let's move on here on this DNA strand. So right here we have a number of different brands that Sir Richard Branson created. And Sir Richard Branson is dyslexic. A lot of people don't realize that. He never finished high school. And so for him, it's kind of, he has this whole, and he says this a lot, screw it, let's do it mentality, where he doesn't care what people think of him. And, he has long hair, he's old, he just doesn't care, man. He doesn't care, and he's failed a lot too. But he's obviously been way more successful. He just keeps trying, man. Like I remember Virgin Cola was one of his brands. And when we study marketing and advertising campaigns and free publicity, we'll study him. But I remember what he did was in the 80s, he rented a tank and he put Virgin Cola on the tank and he drove through Times Square declaring a war on Coca-Cola. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Big failure, but it didn't matter. And for him, it's not about the money. It's about proving the world wrong. Okay, let's keep drilling down this DNA strand here. And even with Steven Spielberg, he was rejected by the best film school on the planet, which is USC. And he also is dyslexic. He's dyslexic. But sometimes when you're told when you're younger that you might be deficient in one area or not as good, it really motivates you to prove the world wrong. And this is kind of personal. I haven't opened up too much about this. But when I was younger, they thought I had a learning disability. And what they did, the teachers, not my parents, is they had me go to this learning disability center to test me out on Lakeshore Road in Oakville, Ontario, called Chisholm. And that killed my confidence, man. And I wanted to prove everybody wrong that, I didn't have a learning disability. And if I did, it's a strength, not a weakness. So for any of you that have been told that there's something lacking with you by moronic teachers or doctors that don't know what the hell they're doing, let that motivate you. Let that sense of frustration in here motivate you to prove people wrong. Okay. All right. That was a little personal there. Okay. Moving on to the DNA strand here. All right. And same thing with Cisco, the chairman emeritus and the former 17-year CEO, John Chambers. He was dyslexic as well. He was a hell of a guy. Great guy. Great guy. And so if you've been told there's something wrong with you, you want to prove the world wrong and you work extra hard. And that's why I don't like hiring people who parents and grandparents, aunts and uncles went to Ivy League schools and they got them because of that. Actually, university degrees are irrelevant to me. I like to hire people that are poor, smart, and hungry, or at least not entitled, I should say. Nothing upsets me more than people getting into universities because their parents bribed an official. And if you want, we can talk about that in more detail. But that really drives me that's a pain point for me. Because, some of you might have not gotten into certain schools because of that. So anyway, but you're going to get a better education here anyway. Okay. And we already talked about Elon Musk on my badass DNA strand here. And even Picasso. And I don't want to make that one too big for certain reasons. Damn it, now you guys are going to look. But Picasso actually, he was dyslexic as well. And he just wanted to prove the world wrong. And up until recently, that was the second most valuable painting ever made. I got to go off script. One second. So my son Matthew, like on my wall, I had this picture, this quote I put up by Picasso, which said, "Everything you can imagine is real." And my sorry about the sound quality there. My son Matthew said to me, "Well, do you have a real Picasso?" And I'm like, "Dude, you know how expensive those things are?" And he was like, "Have you looked into it?" And I was like, "No." And so what I did was this. I did research, and I'm not bragging because all of you can get this too, and I can explain how. This is a genuine Picasso. Okay. And it's, anyway, there's a certificate, all that stuff, whatever. 1959 from, I guess, Barcelona, some museum there. But this here, like what I did research on this, and Picasso made a lot of color paintings, and those are worth a fortune, right? You can't buy them. They're tough, right? But actually, maybe some of you will be able to one day, the future billionaires. I believe in you. But this here, what Picasso did is, and I love asking myself, why not? Why not look into it? What he did was he made tons of these every day. Sometimes hundreds of them, or 10 or 20 or 30 or 40 of them in one day. And he just painted with black ink, and this is a Matador, obviously. And so this thing here, you can get it for a couple $100, right? So anyway, it's kind of cool. But Picasso has got some great quotes, and a lot of artists, they think differently, and their creative genius is what drives them. They're just different. They've never conformed. I got to show you one more because I got this open, and I'm insecure. I have to show off. So this is an original Andy Warhol, right? It's from I guess the 60s. So Andy Warhol, and we're going to study design. And we're also going to study artists and other successful people in all walks of life, because we can always learn from them. Okay, so we like to work smarter, not harder. But Andy Warhol, the guy that made all the chicken soup paintings, Marilyn Monroe paintings, he used to work on Madison Avenue, which is where the big advertising firms are. Kind of like that TV show Mad Men in the '60s. And this is one of his pieces here that I got for next to nothing. Next to nothing, certificate of authenticity and all that stuff, whatever. But why did I do that? I did that because I want you all to ask yourselves, not why, but ask yourself, why not? Why not? Why can't I buy a Picasso? I know it sounds silly, okay, but I do this because I want to not impress you, but impress upon you the fact that you need to think differently. You need to think differently. I remember when I was when I worked in the venture capital industry. I'm going to go off script a lot today. Why not? I worked in the venture capital industry, and I was on the board of this company that had amazing software that governments use, etc. And we were brainstorming. And in that room, they were talking about one potential government contract. I will never, ever say what company this is. But they were talking about one government contract they wanted to get, which would stop roadside bombs in Afghanistan. And there was a naysayer in the room, right? There's always that negative Nancy or negative person in the room, or negative Ned, I should say. And that person said, you can't do that. You can't deploy, software to stop roadside bombs. And sometimes naysayers are good to have around, because this is what happened. I'm getting shivers just thinking about it. Someone else in the room who's very positive said, well, why can't you? And the naysayer said, because you'd have to build a data center there, a mobile data center. And so the positive person in that meeting, that board meeting, I'll never forget it, said, okay, let's make a mobile data center then. It was pretty cool. They actually did a lot of good stuff to make sure people didn't get hurt because of that. I'm not going to go into more detail on that. Okay. But instead of asking why, ask why not. And so really negative people, although I love to disassociate myself with them quite often, is sometimes they're actually not that bad to have around sometimes. Right? I mean, they bring you down sometimes, but if you're in a business meeting, if you have a negative person who's saying, we can't do this because of this, then you got to retort with, well, why can't we do it? And they'll say something outlandish like, well, you need to build a data center there. And he's like, okay, let's build a data center there. So don't ask why, ask why not. That's sort of a butchered quote from John F. Kennedy, who's the best president in history, I think, because he made the Peace Corps. All right, let's move on. All right, so great entrepreneurs make their mark on the world by proving the world wrong. Their perceived weakness is actually a strength. I love that. I love that. It's so true. Perception becomes reality always. Okay, it's time for an exercise. So please go to exercise E1112, and then I want you to fill in the blank here. Great entrepreneurs make their mark on the world by proving the world. The answer is wrong. Their perceived weakness is actually a strength. And very soon we're going to be studying how to interview like a rock star. And I promise you, every single one of you, whatever you think your weakness is, I'm going to turn that into a strength. I'm going to find a way to spin it into a strength when we do interviewing soon, later on this month, I think. Yeah, you'll see. Perception becomes reality. Okay. All right. Next up, what I want you to do is please write down at the bottom of that page there. Please write down what you think your weaknesses are that might stop you from reaching your full potential in business. Okay. And we're going to turn your weaknesses into strengths. Like, I used to be terrified of public speaking. I'd rather die. I'd literally rather die than do public speaking. Now it's my biggest sense of joy. I love it. Yeah. But remember, you got to say, I don't care what people think of me. I don't care. Okay. Next paragraph there. What you write below, we will come back to when we discuss pitching your business model to investors and interviewing for a job, so we can turn your perceived weaknesses into strengths. Also think about how you want to prove the world wrong with your future business empire. So read that. I'll give you a little bit of time to answer that question. Thank you. All right. So that was that was an excerpt. Let me shut this down so it doesn't hog up bandwidth. Give me 1 second. Done. Yeah. All right. Cool. So that was just an excerpt from my my MBA degree program. You can sign up today. Just go to my website, harouneducation.com, and you'll see a link on the front page to sign up. There's a 30-day, 100% money back guarantee. You got nothing to lose and everything to gain. You can binge watch for the first 29 days, ask for your money back. So anyway, it's fun. All right. Next up is David, who's saying, I'm doing your career course right now and loving it. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Dave. I appreciate it. Appreciate it. I had a lot of fun putting that one together. That's the complete job course, yeah. And that one has a lifetime money back guarantee. You will get the job of your dreams or your money back. I put my reputation and my wallet and my bank account on the line. There's a lifetime money back guarantee. Yeah. All right. Pratik wrote, I'm looking forward to your 100th webcast. Me too. Thank you. I can't believe it's been, we're on week 95 already. It's amazing. It's amazing. And all of you made this possible. So thank you very much, everybody. Okay, and Himanshu is next up. He's saying, hey, Chris, your course material is great. Thank you, I appreciate it. Invest in stocks like a pro investor, buy a pro investor. Thanks for the discount. You're most welcome. You're most welcome. Thank you. And Manas is saying, Sasha, meaning Sasha Stevenson, who I made the complete YouTube course with. And she has over 100 million views on her YouTube channel. And if you ever want to learn something, try teaching it. She's great. I mean, she runs circles around me with her YouTube channel. She's amazing. And then you wrote, Sasha's awesome in her early videos, but I didn't know Indonesian. Yeah, she's a rock star over in Indonesia. She's great. She's fun. She's actually from Canada too. I've never met her, but she's from Canada. Yeah, it's great. Yeah. And I heard it in her accent when we were editing the videos too. Like every now and then she'd say oot and a boot. And any Americans on the call, it's not out or about, okay? But we're not the ones with the accent, Canadians. It's how you're supposed to say it, everybody. Oot and a boot. Try it. You can do it too. All right. Next up is Lionel, whose last name is Olivier. What a great last name. It's like Laurence Olivier. Yeah. And Lionel wrote, I agree with China's analysis. Best I've heard so far, especially the export economy on China versus the U.S. economy. Thank you. Thank you. And I appreciate that. Yeah. America's too big to fail, and so is China. Everyone is attached at the hip, given globalization. Yeah. Mohammed is saying, hey, Chris, hey, man, I want to ask, can a founder of a startup have a majority of stock share of their own startup, especially after the seed funding? Because I know some of the founders only have a small ownership after seed. Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's up to you in terms of how much you want to sell of your company. But the way it works is usually when you start a company, if you need money to grow, don't get a loan, by the way, because banks are chicken. And if you're a day or two late, they can take everything. And also make sure to talk to a lawyer, register your company. But when you first start a company and it's early stage, it's like a seed, a mustard seed. And you need early investors. They call them seed investors. And seed investors are usually very high net worth people that will invest in your company. And if you want to know how to get seed investors, and I don't want you to spend your own money to start your own company unless you have a lot, please. Because I want you to be happy at home and just be a great parent and enjoy your life. But if you want to raise money, and I don't invest in any of my students' startups, but I do love my students. But if you want to raise money, I want you to read this book. Okay, you can get it from my website, harouneducation.com. It's a free download called Networking to Get Customers, a Job, or Anything You Want, including money if you want to start a company. Read this book. I promise you it'll help you out tremendously. And it's free as well. But when you start a company, initially it's called, I need money for a seed stage. And seed is basically the first time you raise money, usually from a high net worth person. And what they'll do, and I'm going to make these numbers up, is you decide how much they can buy, and you as the entrepreneur, the founder, decide what percent of the firm they get. So for example, if they give you $100,000 and you decide, and you talk to your lawyer who does all the paperwork, obviously, but if they get 10% of the company, you decide they get 10% of the company and they invested $100,000, then that means that your company is valued at $1 million. You know, basically you take the amount they invest divided by the percent they own. 100,000 divided by 10% or 0.1 is $1 million. So they get 10% of the company and you own 90% in this hypothetical example. And then what happens is every year or two, whenever you need more money, you'll raise money from venture capital firms, for example. And what happens though is you own 90% now after the seed investment. When the venture capital firm invests, you have to give them part of the company, right? So you're going to own less than 90%. So let's say that you raise $1 million from them. And the seed investor who has a board seat on your company because he or she invested in your company, they might say, okay, Chris, I'll agree, if I have a say, I'll agree to you letting venture capitalists invest and creating new shares which will dilute my ownership. I'll agree if you make sure that the value of the company is more than $1 million. Because when I invested my 100 grand, it was valued at $1 million. And so if I'm going to own less of the company because some VC dude is coming in and I'm going to get diluted a bit, I want to make sure that my investment goes up. And so the entrepreneur's like, okay, cool. So you then get, say, I don't know, you raise $1 million now from Sequoia, let's say, and you value the company at, say, $10 million. So Sequoia gets 10% of the company. And that means that Sequoia owns 10%. Your earlier investor, the seed investor, is going to get diluted. He or she will own less than 10%. And you'll own much less now than 90%. And so every time you raise money, you get diluted. Okay, you own a little bit less because new shares are being created. Rinse, lather, repeat. Occurs over and over and over again until you stop raising money and you harvest your investment, you go public or whatever it is. And so whenever you raise more money, the previous investors usually have what's called a pro rata right. They have the right to invest more as well so that they don't get diluted. So they still own the same percent of the company. They don't have to buy more, but they can, usually if it's written down in the legal documents. They have a pro rata right to invest more in each round so they don't get diluted. Now, a couple more things. Number one, don't ever value the company that you started too high early on. Otherwise, you'll never be able to raise more money because your earlier investors are going to say, hey, that's not cool, man. You're raising more money at a lower valuation now? I'm getting diluted. No, I disagree. Number two, every time you raise money, whoever you raise money from usually gets a board seat. Make sure you do a thorough background check on them and go with your gut too. Do you enjoy their company? Have they been good to other entrepreneurs based on your due diligence? Because a jerk board member is worse than being in a bad marriage. If you're in a bad marriage, God forbid, and I'll never get divorced, this never comes off, but people get divorced. You can't get rid of board members. You can't fire a board member. Usually, I know there's exceptions. When somebody invests in your company, you're stuck for life with them. So just be careful. Just be careful. And most entrepreneurs that start companies, by the time their company goes public, they own way less than 50% of the company. And they're okay with that because the board loves them, the board backs them, and the board is smart enough to know that if a founder leaves a company, especially a tech company, then investors should run for the exits. And I wrote an article about this in VentureBeat years ago. So go to venturebeat.com, search for my name, and you'll see an article I wrote about this. I really do believe that. When founders all leave a tech company, at least, investors should run for the exit because bureaucracy and politics, that's it. But like, for example, with Amazon, and speaking of Amazon, I met with a guy named John Doerr, who's one of the big partners at Kleiner Perkins. We worked on a couple deals together at my previous venture capital firm. And John Doerr has never sold a single share of Amazon stock. And he invested in venture capital around years ago, back in the mid 90s, whatever. Probably 94-ish, 95, yeah. And his return on investment is like 50,000%. It's amazing. It's amazing. But the reason why Amazon trades at high valuations is because a lot of investors believe in the founder. If Jeff Bezos left Amazon, that stock would get cut in half. So the jockey is always more important than the horse. Now, by the time your company goes public, you've raised money through many different rounds. You raise money from the seed round, and then you got venture capital money, which is called the A round. Then a year or two later, you raise more money from other venture capital firms. Maybe that's called the B round. C, D, And usually the E round, so to speak, or whatever it is, means an IPO. And by the time your company goes public, you usually own way less than 50% of the company. And you're cool with that because the board backs you and loves you. And you're cool with that because you're worth a fortune now. Yes, you don't own 90% anymore of a $1 million company. You might own 20% of a $10 billion company. So yes, you get diluted, but yes, it's completely worth it. Completely worth it. And the last thing I'll say about this is raising money can be an extraordinarily distracting process. So my rule of thumb is always raise as much money as you can when you can. Because up until recently, it was capital chasing entrepreneurs. And now it's entrepreneurs chasing capital. Just based on where we are in the economic cycle. Things are not looking great right now. But things will always get better. And so raise as much money as you can when you can. Because what happens is this. If you work at a big company right now and you're working for somebody and you're being underpaid, and I know I'm talking to a bunch of people right now that believe that. You're being underpaid. And you're like, you know what, dude? Screw it. I'm going to leave and start my own company because I'm really good at skill X. I make a lot of money for the rich schmuck I work for now. He pays me this much money to make his dreams become a reality. I'm good at skill X. I don't get paid for it. I'm going to start my own firm today. But you don't realize that when you start your own company, you don't have the same support you have when you work at a big company. So when you work at a big company doing skill X, you have somebody doing payroll in another department, somebody doing sales, somebody maybe doing R&D, somebody doing operations stuff, human resources. So you just focus on skill X. Then you start your own company and you fail to realize, and I say it with love in my heart, you fail to realize that you don't have that support staff and you get distracted by trying to raise money. That's why I say raise as much money as you can when you can. And please take my complete business plan course. I promise you, it'll help you out tremendously. I don't want you to start a company until you write a business plan, because failing to plan is planning to fail. Most people don't write a business plan. And starting a company, an unsuccessful company, it can take years off your life. It can stress you out, it can hurt your relationships, hurt you physically, whatever it is. That's why I want you to write a business plan first. Because if you take my complete business plan course, or if you join me in my MBA degree program where we go into much more detail than my courses, you'll understand while writing that business plan why you should not do it or why you should do it. Or maybe you have a business plan or business already and you want to improve it. Sign up for my MBA degree program. I'll help you take your business to the next level by introducing you to many different investment frameworks, management frameworks, business plan template, that sort of thing. Again, failing to plan is planning to fail. Please, please, please make sure before you start a company that you write a business plan first. All right. It's getting hot in here again. We're getting unusually hot weather here in San Francisco. And I believe it was Mark Twain who once said the coldest winter he ever spent was the summer in San Francisco. And here's another great quote from Mr. Twain here, who said, "The secret of getting ahead is getting started." Yeah, it gets cold here, man. Like it's when I first moved out here to the Bay Area, San Francisco, I was watching this television show called The OC. Great show. I loved it. Seth Cohen's my hero. He was the father in that show. It's a good dude. And I thought it was just warm out here all the time. Little did I realize that OC means Orange County, which is Southern California. Here in Northern California, in the San Francisco Bay Area where I live, it is freezing in the summer. And it's weird because if you go north of the city, it gets warmer. Doesn't make any sense, I know. But it's just because of just the microclimates you have within the San Francisco Bay. Yeah. All right. Next question is from David, who's saying, if you were graduating from college now and really passionate about investing and finance, what type of jobs would you be looking for? Meaning investment banking, asset management, etc. Yeah. So if you absolutely love investing, then I would probably look to go into an asset management role. And you'll learn a lot about business from working for people, but you'll also learn what not to do, which are valuable lessons as well. But if you love investing, maybe a hedge fund may make sense for you initially, but make sure it's a very long-term focused hedge fund and not a short-term focused one. And the best type of hedge funds to work at are what are called tiger cubs. And Julian Robertson is an icon in the hedge fund industry. And he founded a great hedge fund in the early 80s called Tiger. And he was successful because he was very long-term focused. He wasn't fooled by randomness. He wasn't a trader. And he's a fundamental investor. And his investments are usually 3 years out, right? That's long for a hedge fund. And what came out of Tiger, and the reason I'm mentioning it, is what came out of Tiger were a number of different hedge funds, people that were smart that worked at Tiger. And they're called Tiger Cubs. So if you can, try to work for a Tiger Cub, and you can Google it and see a list of those hedge funds. I think that's a worthwhile thing to do. Make sure you love finance though. Like if you weren't allowed to work or go to school for 30 days and you're not allowed to travel, what would you do with your time? If it's stocks, then go for it. Go for it. Or maybe start at like a place like Goldman Sachs, like I did before I worked in the hedge fund industry, and then work in some role there on the sell side. And then I left Goldman to join the buy side. I worked at a big hedge fund called Citadel, great hedge fund. But make sure you do it because you absolutely love doing it, because a lot of people are depressed on Wall Street. And the reason is, and I'm guilty of this, because there's a lot of insecurity and people basically are never happy around bonus season. It's disgusting. And I'm a victim of this too. So what usually happens on Wall Street and in different financial centers around the world is around Christmas every year, end of the year, you get a bonus. And it's usually much bigger than your base salary, unless it's a bad year, in which case you get nothing. And nobody's happy because what they do is everybody compares himself to the schmuck or the person that made way more than they did. It's brutal. And the only time you should look in your neighbor's bowl is to see if they have as much as you, not to see if you have more than them. The cancer of Wall Street and Western society is that we compare ourselves to those that have more, always. It's brutal. And that's why there's so many depressed people on Wall Street. Don't ever make money your God. You know, our forefathers and foremothers thousands of years ago knew this. And that's why they said it as one of the 10 basic laws to live our lives by in many great religions. And I read a great book from the Dalai Lama, which I recommend that you all read as well. It's called The Art of Happiness. And the Dalai Lama said in his book, The Art of Happiness, that the problem with Western society is we sacrifice our health, our entire lives in order to make money. And then at the end of our lives, we sacrifice all our money in order to maintain our health. And then we look back and we realize we never really lived to begin with. Please don't make money your God. If you're going to go into the finance industry or work on Wall Street, make sure you do it because you're passionate about it, not because you want to make a lot of money. Because I believe that if you chase money, you lose your money and your dreams. But if you chase your dreams, as long as you're willing to fail at least a couple times, please fail at least a couple times. If you chase your dreams, the money will come accidentally. It always does. That's right. You just got to cut off everybody in your life that's negative, that's telling you what career you should go into, and just do what you're passionate about. You know, Mark Twain said, the two most important days in your life are number one, the day you're born, and then number two, the day you find out why. What's your why? What's your purpose? What are you passionate about in life? I want you to run after that and ignore all the naysayers, because as Confucius said, when you have an occupation you love, you'll never work a day in your life. And if I can humbly help you to find out what your passion is in life, then I've done my job. Don't chase money. Chase your dreams. And if you don't chase your dreams, then something disgusting happens later in life, which is this. It's a nightmare. You wake up one day and you realize that you work for a jerk that pays you this much money to make their dreams become a reality. Start today. Find out what your dreams are in life. Write down your goals. Think about your perfect life in 10 years and write down what your perfect life is. Then let me help you fill that gap. And careful with investment banking, because a lot of people do it because, you can make a lot of money. But the dirty secret is that a lot of times you're just updating PowerPoint slides and you hate doing what you're doing. And yeah, you might be able to brag to your friends, you make a lot more money than them, but you don't. You don't. Because you make less per hour than they do. Because you work crazy hours and you're sacrificing your health, and all your wealth can't buy you health. And then Gregory is saying the scene in the movie Ghost I mentioned earlier has a different, has also SE, meaning love. Okay. Yeah. It is about love too. Yeah. Rochelle DeBralo is saying, hey, Chris with a big heart. Rochelle, I hope you're doing well. Great to have you. Great to have you. My girlfriend from Montreal, her name was Rochelle Klein. And I had a dream about her last night. Not that type of dream. But I had a dream. Oh my God. I'm remembering now. I had a dream that one of my courses wasn't updated, and she told me about it, and I had to go and update it. Yeah. Wow. I haven't seen her since 1995. Yeah. Rochelle, great to have you. She was Rochelle, but great to have you. All right. Next up is Digi Art Studio, who's saying, hi, Chris. Hey, man. What advice would you, a person who is very ambitious in life, but always gets frustrated because he compares his life to other people? Yeah, I love that question. So the cancer of Western society is we compare ourselves to those that have more. You'll never be happy if you compare yourself to other people that have more. And so there's this, this chart that I love. And it's this. On this axis is your age. And on this axis is give a damn. When you're younger, you're here. You don't give a damn what people think of you. When you're older, you're here because most old people don't have confidence problems. The problem is when you're younger, you're a teenager, 20s or 30s or whatever it is, sometimes later, you're up here. You give a damn what people think. You try to impress other people. And I call this the triangle of despair, and you have to do whatever you can to get rid of this disgusting triangle. I want you to live at this level here and just not give a shit what people think about anything. Otherwise, you'll never be happy because you'll be competitive and try to keep up with the Joneses, and your neighbor gets a nice car and you're like, oh God, I got to get a better car than my neighbor. You got to live at this level and don't chase money. Otherwise, you'll lose your dreams and your money. Live at this level, say, I don't give a damn what anybody thinks of me. And I'm going to march to the beat of my own drum. Is that right? Yeah. And I'm going to do what I want to do in my life. And I'm going to be happier too. You got to live at this level. Always. Always. Whoops. All right. And I can't wait for next week because I've got this robotic arm that I'm installing that's going to be able to levitate a camera from down below to up above, so that I can add that. I've got a vertical one now, but it's kind of slow. I'll show it to you. It's over here. You can see the camera's kind of slowly moving. Okay, and that's called a slider, and people use it for interviews. But I've got this other one coming with this new. I finally caved in and bought the new. Well, not the new, but I bought a Canon 5D Mark IV, which I'm excited about. Yeah. I'm a nerd. I don't have a job, I have a passion. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to be in a room by myself talking to a camera and no one talks back for a gazillion hours every day. Yeah. All right. Next question. John Clee from Rochester, New York. And earlier on, John said he has an interview coming up and he wanted help with it on the call here. And before he asked that question, I saw his name and I said, I'm very proud to say that I hired John. He's doing a great job and he works part-time for me. And then I said, I hope you don't leave me. And it's just part-time. Like all my employees, I don't care if they work anywhere else at the same time. I don't own them. Yeah. And actually, I don't have full-time employees. I have an S corporation. Yeah. And then John wrote, I'm not going anywhere. I love Haroun Ventures. You wrote it all in caps. Like my grandfather, God bless him, used to write to me in emails. Sound like he was yelling, but he wasn't. It's just the way he was. I know, John. I know. You're always welcome to stay with us, too. I think you're doing a great job as well. Thank you. Thank you. And for those of you that applied for a job here at Haroun Education, remember on my website, I had a job link. I just took it down because of John. John's done a great job. Thanks, John. Great to have you. All right. And then Guru Raj is saying, hey, Chris, I'm from an engineering background. I'm studying right now. But now I wish to have a career in investment banking or finance role. Or simply, I want to explore the business world and know more about it. How do I start? And can I really shift from a technical background to the business world? Absolutely. Yes. And we have a saying here in Silicon Valley that it's easier for an engineer to switch into a finance career than it is for a finance person to switch into an engineering career. Because you're more mathematical in your studies, etc. So yeah, you can absolutely do it. The way to do it is this. Go to my website, harouneducation.com, and download my free networking book. Okay, it's over 200 pages. It'll teach you everything you need to know about networking. It's free. And there's several hours of YouTube videos I made for you. Your network is your net worth, and relationships are more important than product knowledge. I also have a course you can take called the Complete Job Course. And I promise you that if you take that course and follow my methodologies, you will get the job of your dreams or your money back. It's the only course I have that has a lifetime 100% money back guarantee that's backed by me personally. It's a great deal. Or you can take it and then request a refund because you get a 30-day 100% money back guarantee always with my courses. So your ability to change careers from engineering to finance is all based on how you network. Your network is your net worth. Relationships are always more important than product knowledge. Please read this book and please take my course, the Complete Job Course, as I promise you, it'll help you make that career change or your money back. All right. Next question is Mohammed. Hey, Mohammed, hope you're doing well. Hi, Chris. In the Complete Job Course, the LinkedIn view is outdated, right? Yeah, so what might happen is LinkedIn makes changes. I'll show you actually. All right. So LinkedIn changed their interface a bit, and I'll show you the differences. So if we go to LinkedIn right here, and let me sign in, I guess. That's my old Hotmail account. Don't put Hotmail in your resume, dude. It makes you look old. Kind of like an AOL account, right? You know, your mom still has that AOL account. Actually, my mom's got Gmail now. All right. So the differences are here. You can see that the colors are a bit different now too, as well, right? They're trying to get in that whole dark mode. Or actually, I think it's for other reasons too. Okay, that's a good thing. All right. So right here, there used to be advanced search here. But what's changed is they don't have that. This here is advanced search. So if we're doing a search on, I don't know, people that work at a certain company, and you want to do an advanced search, it used to say advanced search here. It doesn't. You just click this. That's it. That's it. And that's the only major change they've made that's different. They've also rebranded, like they don't call it LinkedIn Pulse as much anymore. They call it Write an Article on LinkedIn. But essentially the rest of it is still the same. Still the same, yeah. So, and if anybody has sent me a LinkedIn message, I'm so sorry if I haven't responded. I just can't keep up. There's been a lot of inbounds. The best way to always reach me is on this this weekly call here, Office Hours. Yeah. All right, and Ronan is saying, brilliant listening to you chat and give useful, relevant advice. Thank you, Ronan. I appreciate it. And I see your name here is it's Ronan Donovan. I love it because when I first looked at it, I thought of Lieb Schreiber, who's Ray Donovan, which is an amazing show. I love it. I love it. That's cool. Great to have you, buddy. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Next up is Zabit, who's saying, hey, Chris, great seeing you again. Great to see you as well, brother. When will the golf course be available? The golf course. I don't know, dude. Like it's something I've been working on. Like it's not, like usually when I make courses, I try to go after a very large total addressable market TAM, TAM, because the best companies that make a lot of money, whatever, have a large TAM. This one, I don't really care if it ever sells or not. It's got a tiny TAM. And the way we're trying to teach it, and I always try and teach from an innovative, different perspective. Because if it's not innovative and fun for me, and if I don't teach it in a different way, it's never going to add value. And so for that course, what we're doing is, it's like a golfer's companion course. And so what we're doing is we're setting it up so that you download the course on Udemy or wherever, and you take it on the golf course with you, and it's sorted alphabetically. So let's say that you hit your drive and it goes in a sand trap. I hate sand traps. I'd rather be in the water, literally, than get in a sand trap. So you're walking up to your next shot. Well, you look at the course and you sort alphabetically for the letter S for sand traps. And while you're walking, it's 30 seconds. It'll tell you how to hit a sand shot. Meaning open your club face up a bit, aim, an inch behind the ball, and then just, anyway, full swing. So we'll get it out eventually. We're Matt, who's my amazing videographer. We wanted to get it out earlier, but it's COVID, and I know that's a bad excuse, sorry. But we'll get it out eventually. It will come soon, I promise you. I promise you. And the day it comes out, I'll make it free for everybody for a month. Maybe forever, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah. Thank you for asking, though. Yeah. All right. And I got these here from my parents. They downsized. They went from a house in Mississauga to an apartment, and they were going to throw these out, and these are the most Canadian bookends ever. I had to get it. It reminds me of Moosehead, the beer I used to drink when I was younger. Yeah. Because it's got a cool name. Yeah. All right. Next up, Pratik is saying, now we will have Chris Haroun teaching golf. Dude, I suck at golf. I really do. But what I will say is that golf is a great way to bond with your kids. Because if you have a teenager that's not opening up to you, and you play on the back nine with them eventually, and you say nothing to them, eventually at some point they'll open up to you when you're playing golf. And it's great for business too. I've closed a lot of deals in the golf course, and it was not my intention to do so. But you end up bonding, and it's fun to get out there too. And if you're going to play golf, like, it's expensive. And I don't believe in joining a country club. Because I just hate the history of a lot of these racist country clubs or sexist ones. Like, a lot of them, they don't let women go into certain rooms. Even the ones that exist today. It's brutal. It's brutal. And I hope that people come after them next. But I do play at public golf courses. And I don't believe in private schools either. My kids go to public school. I know I'm pretty opinionated, and there's no filter, but this is me. But if you're when I play golf, I play at a place called Crystal Springs, which is awesome. It's a public course along 280, the highway, not too far away from where I live, 5 minutes away. Less than that, actually. And it costs $30 a round, and much, much less than that if you play at different hours. It's cheap, relatively speaking, for golf courses. Yeah, so. All right, and that's how I met Matt, my chief creative officer. He was a golf instructor there. He had his own business. And I said, dude, you're such a good teacher. You're awesome. And you're wicked smart with cameras and stuff and technology. And wicked smart with business. Just join me. Just join me. So he's my CCO, and he's doing a great job. That's why you'll notice that my videos in my MBA degree program are much better than what you see right here, because I'm live streaming now. And I've got all my remotes and stuff down here, Velcro under the table. And what Matt does actually is he makes sure that he adjusts the color. Like, a lot of times you'll see people do this with the camera before they record. This is Velcro, by the way, the stuff. And this is just a white balance, because your camera doesn't know what the color white is. Because the color white might be eggshell white, or you might be doing a video outdoors, and the color white's a little different outdoors. So people look at this to white balance camera. What people also do is this. They color balance the camera. And so what I do is, before I record the videos, and I record in 4K from 5 or 6 different angles for all my MBA degree program courses. And the quality is much better than what you're seeing here, because Matt will match the colors properly, okay, using something called DaVinci Resolve, right? So I've got all these cameras, and I got to white balance this camera here, this top-down one, which it's a security camera. So I think I bought the wrong camera, but I'm learning. I make a lot of mistakes. Yeah. All right. And Pratik says we can now ask golf questions on this webcast. Yeah. Yeah. And you're probably wondering what my scores are in golf. I actually regularly shoot 70. I do. On the front nine. Yeah. But Matt, my chief creative officer, and he hasn't been in the studio in many, many months because of COVID, but eventually I'll bring him in and we'll do like a green screen thing, which I've done before here. And you will be able to actually swing a golf course here, or a golf club. Doesn't look like you can, but you can. Yeah, it's kind of fun. Yeah. And this is a treadmill under my feet here, if you're curious. I have one of these levitating desks that goes up, and then I walk on my treadmill. I get 15,000 steps a day now, actually, on my treadmill under here. And it's made by a company called FitBill. It's the cheapest treadmill ever because there's no arms on it. And I've lost 10 pounds actually using it. It's been fun. And I have so much more energy now too. I feel great. All right. And then Mohammed is saying, we need a personal branding course. I've got the complete YouTube course. And if you sign up for my MBA degree program, we do cover all that stuff. And it's over 300 hours. And I'm going to be adding a lot of electives. So eventually it's going to be close to 1,000 hours. Yes. And you'll get all that for free. Yeah. All right. Melody is saying, I have the Blue Yeti. Oh, you do? Okay. The microphone. Yeah. I'm just trying to figure out how to hook it up to my camera. I used the camera's audio. Yeah. Yeah, you can do it. All you have to do, I know it sounds silly for me to mention this, is enter your camera name, which I think you mentioned to me 6 months ago was a Canon M50. Enter Canon M50 and connect Blue Yeti and watch a YouTube video on it. It'll teach you that. Or you can record it separately on your computer. And then what you can do is you can match up the audio in post-production. And so a lot of times what you'll see is you'll see people before they start filming, the movie makers, they'll go, take one, action. And what that thing does, right, it's called a clapper. What it does is you do the clapping, and sometimes I clap 3 times before I record, because you have to have audio recording on all your cameras. Why? So that in post-production, you can line up with software automatically all of your cameras directly using that clapping noise. So you can do that too if you want, Melody. Use the Canon M50 you have and record the audio through that. And then what you can do is you can then in post-production, if you record Blue Yeti somewhere else, you can actually get the camera to recognize that. I'm blanking a bit here because I want to show you what might be better than a Blue Yeti for you with the Canon M50. I'm going to show you something. Hold on a second. I'm going to get a microphone off this camera I got here. Let me do it gently so I don't ruin it. Give me 1 second. All right, done. So on top of that, that's a Sony a7 III over there. But I've got this here. And this might be worth it actually for you. So if you're recording on a Canon M50, and this is how I've done it with a lot of my vlogs on the Canon M50, you can get this, right? Buy it. If it doesn't work, you can always return and get a refund. Best Buy is great where you live in Atlanta, Georgia, or you can Amazon it. But this, or you can sell your Blue Yeti used because they're impossible to get now because of COVID. And you could probably sell it for however much you paid for it. It's true. I have old camera equipment from years ago that I could sell today, and I don't use it. I could sell today for more than I paid for it because there's such a dearth of supply. But this here is called a Rode Video Mic Pro. Okay, and this or Video Mic. It's made by a company called Rode, which is an Australian company, great company. And all you do is, and I know you have a Canon M50, you put it into the slot on the top. Okay, it's a shoe mount, and then what you do is you turn this style and it stays steady. Okay. And then all you do, Melody, is you plug this into the audio port on the side of your Canon M50. And the beautiful thing about the Canon M50 is the screen will flip around so you can turn it so you can see what you're recording. Unlike Sony cameras, which are moronic because you can't flip it up. And sometimes you flip it up and it's where the microphone's supposed to be. So try this product here and I'll show you how to use it. Let me just do switch screens to this here. Hold on a second. All right, I got to work on the white balancing of the screen here. All right, so, and let me just nerd out and try to zoom in. It's a security camera. Hold on a second. There you go, good. All right, cool. All right, so Melody, all you do with this, and the sound quality is great. It's called a shotgun mic because what happens is it actually, whatever you point to is what it's going to record, okay? It's right there, just a piece of plastic, right? So right in there. So you point it to yourself with this, and if you're outdoors recording, you can get what's called a dead cat, which is a stupid name, but a big furry thing, so the wind doesn't mess things up. And it takes just a battery, which is crazy hard to put in, but it works. And it's set up like this, so it can kind of bounce a bit as well on your camera to avoid sound, okay, or vibrations. And you plug this into the side in your audio port. Make sure it's not the headphone jack of the Canon M50. So try this out, and that way you can record in camera as well, right, on the SD card. So I recommend trying this out. It might be a better solution for you, actually. Yeah, and if you have questions about this or any issues configuring it, let me know on this weekly webcast. I'm more than happy to opine and somehow help out if I can. Yeah. All right. Problem with having all these lights here it gets hot in here, man. Yeah. All right. So we got another 9 minutes, and then we got to wrap up this call because I've got for MBA students only office hours, the platinum and gold students. And I've got right here, you might be wondering what this is. So I'm doing one-on-one meetings today, confidential one-on-ones. It's not webcast, with my students. We use Zoom. And then what I do is they get 20-minute slots, which is why I have this. Yeah. All right. So we're going to have to wrap it up. And if I have not answered your questions yet, then, and this goes to everybody in the call, please. I'm sorry, but I got to do this MBA degree student office hours thing with my students. You can ask them again next week. Yeah. Or if you're my MBA degree student in the platinum or silver or platinum or gold program, you can go to my website to learn more about that. You can ask these questions on the call that we're going to start at 11:15 for my MBA students. Thanks. All right. And Albus is saying, hey, Chris, I hope you're having a great day. I'm loving your courses. Thank you. I am having a great day. Thank you. It's always a great day when I'm with my students. Thanks. And then D is saying, I have followed your advice and steps on setting informational meetings, but with no success. The people I contact ignore my ask, even you. What should I do moving forward? Well, I'm sorry. Okay. I get a million inbounds, okay. Well, first of all, don't give up. Just keep trying. Second of all, maybe your LinkedIn profile is not perfect. So take my complete job course and make sure your LinkedIn profile is perfect. And then let me know here, paste in what message you enter in because maybe you're asking the wrong thing. Okay, I can help you with that. And my success rate on getting meetings with people I've never met before on LinkedIn has always been 95%. I don't say it to impress you. I say it to impress upon you the fact that it can work, and it does work. So make sure you take my complete job course, or just go to my website and read my networking book, which is free, harouneducation.com, and then just keep trying. And let me know what you're typing in here, and send me here on next week's call, not this week's. We got to wrap it up in a minute. I'm sorry for not responding to you. I feel bad now. But next week, what I want you to do is I want you to be the first person asking a question on this call. And I want you to tell me what your LinkedIn address is. Okay. Now you cannot share hyperlinks when I do these YouTube calls. So if you wanted to share CNN.com, you would type CNN space DOT space com. Send me your LinkedIn next week, okay, on this weekly call. It's the easiest way for me to talk to my students. And make sure you're one of the first people to ask. And D, I want you to say, Chris, per our conversation last week, can you please look at my LinkedIn profile and let me know how I can improve it? And also, you could say, Chris, this is the message that I've sent many people that won't respond. So Chris, please look at number one, my LinkedIn profile, tell me how to improve it. Number two, look at this message I send out and tell me why I'm not getting responses. And I will walk through walls for you. Just make sure you ask first next week. So you're the very first person on the call. And you can usually enter questions in about 2 hours before the call starts. If you answer questions in the day before or night before, it'll let you do it, but I never see those. Okay. I promise you I'll help you, dude. I promise you. I'm going to make your profile awesome live. Just make sure you're comfortable with everybody seeing it because this is webcast. Melody's writing, thanks so much, Chris. I've learned from creating this course that I need to be prepared. And then you taught me that. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's exciting when you get the first course out. Really exciting. But it's kind of like it's like that Ratatouille feeling from the movie where the food critic came in and you're kind of waiting. You're a bit nervous but excited about what the ratings are going to be on the course, that sort of thing. And if I can humbly help you get that coveted 4.5 or above rating, please let me know because we're all in this together. You're a teacher too, right? Yeah. Melody's a great teacher based in Atlanta, Georgia. All right, Sheva is saying, hey, Chris, hope you're doing well. Likewise. Why do you think some companies focus more on equity than profits or margins? Yeah. So you'd have to explain what you mean by equity. So there's two different ways to look at it. One way is down here. This is a balance sheet here. So it's like a scale. On one side, where the car is in the house with a little light in it, that's assets. And assets have to equal liabilities plus equity. That's why it has to balance. And so you'll see there's a pig. On the other side, that's liabilities. And then there's a dude from the office. You can't tell that. He's too small now. You see him? That's equity. And so when you talk about companies referring to focusing on equity, what that might mean is return on equity, ROE. And every time you hear the term return on something, it means net income over something. So if I say return on assets, that means net income divided by assets. If I say return on remote controls, silly I know, it's net income over remote control. If I say return on equity, it means net income over equity. Okay. And last thing I'll say about this is that basically means, like, think of the denominator as always being the number one. So in this case, the denominator is equity, and the numerator is net income. So return on equity means net income divided by equity. If the denominator is 1, that means for every $1 in equity or ownership you have in a company, how many pennies of net income are you making? Higher is better. So, and when it comes to ROE, you can also look at, and Google this please, because I got to wrap up the call in a minute, I'm sorry. You can look at what's called the DuPont model, which disaggregates or breaks up return on equity into 3 different formulas that mathematically cancel each other out. It's brilliant. And so there's 3 different formulas or 3 equations that can actually become drivers to improve return on equity. Okay, so that's what I would look at, yeah. But I would say that when people look at return on equity, of course they're looking at profits. So I think anybody that looks at equity multiples, they're definitely looking at profits. Maybe not margins directly, but net income which is profit, is part of that equation. Yeah, and if that did not answer your question correctly, please let me know. And you can ask me next week as well, because I got to wrap this up in a second. And there's going to be a bunch of questions that I don't get to. I'm so sorry. This call is only 3 hours. And so if I don't answer your question or didn't get to it today, just paste it again next week. And if you're my MBA degree students, what you can do is just copy and paste it into the MBA office hours we're going to do starting at 11:15 a.m. my time today. And if you have one-on-one meetings today with me, you can ask during those as well. Yeah. And for those of you that are interested in getting one-on-ones with me, you can sign up for the Platinum program. Go to my website for more details, which starts every year in December. And we can do several hours of meetings over Zoom or one-on-one in person. It's up to you. Yeah. So go to harouneducation.com, and in the menu somewhere, you'll see MBA degree programs. Yeah. And then Melody wrote, Chris, thank you so much. You're most welcome. I appreciate it. It's the laptop you're using. Okay. I did not realize this could make the hissing sound. Thank you. You're most welcome. And actually, when I made my first couple of Udemy courses, I actually used a laptop. Right? I used like an old ThinkPad and a MacBook that I borrowed. And what I did was the MacBook was loud, much louder than the ThinkPad. ThinkPad's really well engineered. But what I did was this. I got a cord to put the laptop as far away as possible. Okay. And what I also did, and this is a hack, and be careful of this, please. I went into the kitchen and I got a big pan that was that deep, right? And I put tons of ice in it. And then what I did was I put the laptop on top of that pan sideways so it wasn't touching the ice or liquid. And that actually stopped the fan a little bit every now and then. But I think the best thing you can do is get a long cable. Or what you can do, and this is what I do, is I have a high-end server in this room. It's actually in that room there, and eventually this camera will spin around. You'll be able to see that door there. But I have Ethernet running under the door because my high-end server, it's called a Jellyfish server made by a company called LumaForge. It runs from that room so that I can keep that door closed so it's quiet. And I'll show you, if you're curious, my configuration here. So let's go over to the Finder. And it's right here. It's called a Jellyfish. And on this thing, it's massive. It's like 240 terabytes. And I have all my lessons in here. Yeah. And that is the alarm. So I guess we're going to have to wrap this up. I apologize. So again, if you're one of my MBA degree students, you can, and you've asked questions, I haven't gotten them yet. What you can do is you can just copy the questions and then paste it for the MBA office hours. If I have a one-on-one with you, it starts today at 1:30. Please check Calendly within the MBA curriculum for gold and platinum students. And for other people I have not responded to yet, because there's a lot of questions in the backlog here, please just copy your questions and ask me them again next week. And in closing, what we do is my team actually, what they'll do is within 24 hours or so of this webcast being completed, they'll actually, if you go to the description field of this webcast for the replay, you'll be able to click on any of the questions that were asked and at what times. So you can immediately get the answer. So I can help you work smarter and not harder. So thanks again, everybody, for your time. If you subscribe to my vlog, I will see you tomorrow because I vlog every day. If not, God bless you. Stay healthy, stay safe, have a great weekend, and I'll see you next Thursday and every Thursday forever at 8 a.m. Pacific time. Thanks again, and God bless. Hi, I'm Chris Haroun, and this MBA degree program is not what you think it is. It's better. This program is more than 25 years of business experience, all rolled into one easy-to-access online program. I've sold over 1 million courses in every single country. I've worked at Goldman Sachs. I have an MBA from Columbia University, and I've worked in the venture capital, hedge fund, and consulting industries. I've also started many companies, and my courses have been featured in Forbes, Business Insider, CNN, and NBC. If you're ready to nail your next interview, get a better job, get a raise, start that business you've always dreamt of, improve the one you currently run, or better manage your personal finances, then this MBA degree program is for you. I can't begin to tell you how comprehensive this program is. It's got everything, including more than 300 hours of on-demand video. I would have to do one of those dramatic opening title crawls from a certain space movie just to show you. And check out all the amazing reviews from students who have already enrolled in this MBA degree program. This on-demand version of the program is only $499, and it's more up to date than many of these old-fashioned MBA programs, which cost you well over $100,000. Not to mention, they don't even teach you the practical concepts included in my program. Last but not least, there is a 30-day, 100% money-back guarantee. And because you can access this program from any device, meaning a desktop computer, or a laptop computer, or a tablet, or even your smartphone, It means you can comfortably fit it into your schedule. Even if you work full-time, it's no problem. So if you're ready to unlock the key to your potential, then I'll see you in class.